Good evening, everybody. Hi, Rhonda. Hi, Cherie.
Hello, Amy.
Hi, welcome to Case by Case. My name is Amy, and this is my new channel. So tonight we're going to get into the timeline of events, and I have a lot of information to share. But first, I want to introduce Rhonda and Cherie. And Rhonda, if you want to introduce yourself and tell people about yourself, feel free.
Oh, well, thank you, Amy, and thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. Uh, my name is Rhonda. My channel name, I have a channel that's called Just Rhonda, and I am an advocate for the wrongfully convicted. Um, I don't just jump in and assume just because I read or see something about somebody that they're guilty or they're innocent. I like to find for myself
Okay.
the facts and the information before I decide, and even after that, I might decide I'm not sure if they're guilty or innocent. But
Right.
my channel focuses on a case out of Oklahoma City, and the man who I believe 100% was wrongfully convicted is Daniel Holtzclaw. And so that's the case that I mostly 99% of the time cover on my channel. And
I actually put
so
your link to your channel in the description here, so people can find your channel that way
perfect.
too.
Perfect. Thank
Okay.
you. Again, thanks for inviting me. I'm excited.
You're welcome. Okay, Cherie, it's your turn.
My name is Cherie, aka I Don't Recall, and I'm an attorney who works on preventing homelessness. But my main passion is exposing injustice and wrongful convictions. And I work with Rhonda on her channel with the Daniel Holtzclaw case. I believe he is innocent, and also on Foul Play we show the injustice in the Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey trials, and now I'm learning about Ashley's case and excited to learn more.
Right.
Thank
There's
you.
a lot here. You're welcome. Thanks for coming on. So I thought that we would just jump back in time for those who either are familiar with the case and forget some things, or are new to the case and don't really know much about it. So I thought that we would just throw in a news feed clip here that I'm going to share. Hopefully I do this correctly. But and then we'll get started. I have a presentation and some interviews that we're going to play, and then we're going to jump into Garrett's interrogation video. Well, the first one. I know that you guys have both watched it. Do you guys have anything you want to comment first before we go forward?
What I didn't include in my introduction of myself is that I am very opinionated and I don't often hold back when I have an opinion about something. I'm pretty clear with that. So I just need to say that. That's a little caveat before I say anything. I don't know very much about this case at all. So, like Cherie, I'm excited to learn as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
But I did listen to the interview, and wow, I have questions. I'll
Good.
just say that it definitely, I've watched a lot of interrogation videos. I've watched a lot of trials. I've read a lot of trial documents and transcripts, and um, so I have questions, and I'll just leave it at that.
Good. Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, How about you, Cherie? You've watched it, correct?
Yes, I didn't find that he came off very credible at all. So I guess that's bottom line.
Right. And I think the more that we go into this and go through with a fine tooth comb all the detail, you're going to see it more and more how crazy um, it really is. Because on the surface, you're just taking you're taking his word for it. But when you know the ins and the outs of the before and the after, you're like, oh my goodness, um, that's my thoughts, but I want everybody in chat to, hi Freckle Joy, hi Under Your Scars. I want everybody to be able to draw their own opinion. I have mine, but we can agree to disagree. But I've been working on this for a long time now, and it's very clear to me that the story was never correctly told, and that's why this is a very twisted case, to be honest. So let me share my screen here, and we will get into hopefully. I think what I'll probably do is I'll just do it in. Do you guys like it where I do a window or I do the full screen with the screen sharing?
Oh, it's completely up to you. I usually do the full window just because I always have something big to
Okay.
show, but you do it however you'd like.
Okay. Well, I'll do my best. Here we go. Let me see here. Okay. Can you guys see that? What are you seeing? Oh, that's the wrong thing. That's not it. That's not it. Already, here she goes. Let me see.
It's
here.
all good practice.
Yep. There we go. Okay.
Lafayette woman found dead in Newton County over the weekend has been identified as Nicole Bowen, but there are still several unanswered questions about her death. News 18's Anna Darling joins us live from the Newton County Sheriff's Office. Anna, what have you learned?
So far, we know that there was no missing persons report filed with the West Lafayette Police. Nicole Bowen was found dead just a few miles northwest of here. We're here in downtown Kent Flynn right now. We believe that she was Nicole L. Bowen was a wanted person with the Lafayette Police for burglary, residential entry, and theft back in 2015. The FBI assisted in identifying Bowen's body, but now the investigation is left to the Newton County Sheriff's Office. Police say her death was suspicious, but that there's no threat to the public. Now, I talked to someone from the Newton County Sheriff's Office on our way up here today. They couldn't give me any details because this is such an active investigation. However, they did say they do not know how she got to Newton County since she is from West Lafayette. And I asked if there was any kind of family connection of up here, and they said they could not give me that information because of the active investigation. We've been talking to neighbors around here about their reactions. We'll bring you that and any other updates we get tonight on News 18 at 5 and 6. Live from Newton County, Anna Darling, News 18.
Anna, thank you. The West Lafayette woman found dead in Newton County over the weekend.
Okay. That just basically covers when she was found and how she was identified and who took over the investigation, which was the Newton County Sheriff's Department. So Detective Rowe took, I believe, the lead on that there in Newton County. So, yeah. Let me see.
Well, if I can just say, I can tell you right now, one of the worst enemies of a case, a high-profile case that's made the news and things like this, is the enemy of the case is going to be the media. So, and that's all. I'm sure there was a great deal of media.
And well, there was. I would say initially, I don't think there was a lot of news coverage of it, but what coverage there was all obviously filtered through the police department. And I think once we get further into the case and further into the interviews, you're going to see how certain sentences from an interview was taken and filtered out to the media from the detectives. But more so social media wise, this case was just hammered as far as Garrett Kirts was concerned, and then Ashley, and the other three were somewhat in the shadows. But I plan to bring that way out into the light because I feel that's really important.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Hi,
Well,
ACB. Well, I'm going to pull up I'm going to start with the slides. The presentation that we have is obviously, it's a PowerPoint. I worked really hard on this for the last week or so. And then, last night was a mess with the power going out. So let me see here. Window. Can you guys see this?
nope, not yet.
Okay, hang on a second here. So Rhonda, if let me see. If I want to share a PowerPoint when it says the entire screen, let me see. What about now?
No. Did you preload it into the stage so it's like backstage?
No, I did not. I thought
Oh,
that
okay.
I thought
I'll
it
I'll
would be up for me to grab.
I'll teach you how to do that later. So when you go to your screen share,
Uh-huh.
you're going to click on the button, and it's going to say three different things at the top. And it's just muscle memory for me, so I can't remember what they're called. But to
Okay.
do a PowerPoint, you're going to want to go to not the first one, I think, but the second one, possibly, maybe the third one. And then there will
There's the
be
Chrome
a number of
tab.
things. Uh-huh. Yeah, probably not in your Chrome tab.
There's
Um,
Chrome tab, window, and entire screen.
show window. Click on window.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then it should show in there, and then you just select whichever item it is that you want to share.
Yeah, let me see here. That's not okay. Wait a minute.
It's really confusing when you get started.
Did that work?
No.
Does that did, oh, there, I had it. Hold on. Crap. I just had
Okay.
it. I seen it in there. Okay. Okay. Now you still don't see that, right?
No. So in Chrome tab,
Okay.
it's going to list your
How
things
about
like from top to bottom. But in window, it
how,
should show you different windows of where the item is that you want, and then you just click on the window that you did. Let's see. There we go. Timeline of events,
there we
March
go.
15th through the 27th. Okay.
Yep. Okay. So this is slide 1. And let me see if I can scroll through here. This is March 14th through March 27th. And I'm starting the timeline tonight with March 14th because that's technically the day that Nicole and Garrett were arrested in Ray Hanish's vehicle. And there was actually 3 people in the car, but the third person was not arrested. He was actually taken out of the vehicle and searched and then allowed to leave on foot. And the significance of that third person is going to come into play down the road in this case. But let me see here. Let me go over and switch it. Still maneuvering here, guys. There we go. So this is the individual So bottom line, it's Garrett and Nicole that were pulled over in Ray's vehicle. He did not signal when he went to make a turn and then ran up over a curb. So he was pulled over. Garrett was driving, and they pulled the vehicle up into a parking lot of, I believe it was like a catering company that I found located there. It's called the Village Pantry. So there's a map there. But Garrett lied about his identity when they were pulled over. And he gave the name as Gavin Kirts. But it wasn't too long after they ran a 50 on him that they discovered that he was not a Gavin. And Nicole was in the passenger seat, and it was stated in the report that it was a Kyle Stout. Now, I've had a hard time tracking down exactly where Kyle Stout was at the time. He had a lot of converted charges in Carroll County, but I have been told that one, Kyle was in jail at this time with someone who was close to the case, and that Russell Stout, these two are brothers. Russell Stout was Garrett's friend and they were pretty thick as thieves around that time, and that it was more than likely Russell who was with Garrett and not Kyle. And the other interesting fact about Russell is Russell lived on Hodges Road, right next to Jason Palladino. So that is something that I'm still digging into to see if I can clarify exactly which one was in the vehicle with the three of them. But odds are, in my opinion, Ray was murdered on the 13th, and his body wasn't found until the 17th. So whoever's out running around in his car the day after he's murdered, to me, there's a high probability that they may have been at Ray's at some point in time with Garrett. That's just my opinion and that's my speculation, but that's why I feel figuring out who the person was actually in the car is going to be important. So I'm going to really quickly close that down, and I'm going to pull up, we're going to go over the police report from that incident. Can you guys see this?
Yep, I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This was actually in Tippecanoe County, but it was on the Lafayette Police Department. And this just goes over. Each of them were given their own incident report number. So I'm just going to go through here rather quickly and go over who the people were in the vehicle. So you've got Kyle Brandon Stout. He's the first individual listed. Then you have Garrett Kenneth Kirts, second person who's listed. And then you have Nicole Lynn Bowen. She's the third in the vehicle. And when you get down here, it's going to talk about what the charges were. Nicole was charged with unlawful possession of a syringe, paraphernalia, and possession of methamphetamine. Then the vehicle that they were pulled over in was the 2008 Pontiac G6, which was Ray's vehicle. And it states on here, today while on duty in full uniform, I was assigned to the Street Crimes Unit, marked in SUV 17-2. While on duty, I assisted Sergeant Withers on his traffic stop at South 4th Street and Central Street. Upon arrival, he informed me that the driver was lying about his identity and requested that we separate the mail. I assisted Officer McCain with having the driver exit, and he was detained in handcuffs. The other occupants were asked to exit the car, and I patted the backseat passenger, Kyle Stout, for weapons, and none were found. It was requested that I utilize my canine partner, Rocky, to perform a free air sniff around the exterior of the car. I retrieved Rocky from my SUV, and we started at the front of the car, progressing around it counterclockwise. Rocky showed a change in behavior at the front passenger door and finalized. This indicated that the odor of an illegal narcotic was emanating emanating from inside the car. I returned Rocky to my SUV and explained the canine alerts to the occupants. While searching where Nicole Bowen, the front seat passenger, was seated, I located paraphernalia pipe, commonly known as a bubble, under her seat near the front edge. Inside the pipe was a burnt residue that appeared to be methamphetamine. Inside her purse, I located a digital scale and a hypodermic needle. The items were photographed and seized. I did not locate anything else illegal. I was informed that some suspected methamphetamine was found on Bowen. I completed an LPD vehicle inventory on my body-worn camera and secured the car. I transported the suspected methamphetamine to the Lafayette Police Department, where I field tested it and yielded a positive result for methamphetamine. I properly sealed the 1.87 grams of methamphetamine in a clear plastic sleeve and placed it into the evidence locker number 37. The hypodermic needle was placed in a sharps container and the digital scale was destroyed. It should be noted that Rocky is a trained certified dual-purpose canine from Vaughn Leach Kennels in Denver, Indiana. So that was one officer. And the second officer states in the report, on the above date and time, I, Officer Luke 405, was dispatched to South 4th Street and Central Street to assist SCU. When I arrived, Sergeant Withers stated a female, later identified as Nicole Bowen, had methamphetamine concealed on her. Sergeant Withers and I escorted Nicole to the restroom. I took Nicole out of handcuffs. Nicole reached into the front of her underwear and retrieved a small baggie of methamphetamine. I took control of the baggie. I handed Sergeant Withers the baggie. I placed Nicole back in handcuffs, which were properly spaced and double locked. Sergeant Withers escorted Nicole back to SCU's patrol vehicle, and I cleared the scene. Third officer, I'm going to skip, how he arrived on scene. This is actually, I am going to read it because it describes why he pulled them over. On the above date and time, I, Sergeant Withers, number 36, was on patrol in full uniform and driving unmarked unit 18-10. I was traveling southbound on South 3rd Street, approaching Koth Street, when I observed a blue Pontiac G6. This vehicle turned east onto Koth Street from South 3rd Street, and the driver failed to signal 200 feet. I estimated that the driver signaled for about 50 feet or less. The Pontiac then turned onto South 4th Street, again failing to signal 200 feet. Further, when the Pontiac turned right, the driver ran over the curb. I initiated a traffic stop on the vehicle as it pulled into the Village Pantry parking lot at 1008 South 4th Street. The vehicle was occupied by three suspects. I asked the driver for his driver's license, but he said that his wallet was not with him. He identified himself as Gavin S. Kirts. He said his date of birth was blank. The front seat passenger was identified as Nicole Bowen, and the rear passenger was identified as Kyle Stout. I asked them where they were headed, and the driver said they were driving to Valero's to buy chicken. Officer McCain was on scene, and he remained at the vehicle while I walked back to my car. I ran a driver's license check on Gavin Kirts, and I looked at the photo. This male was definitely not the driver. Gavin was also listed as being 270 pounds, and the driver weighed less than that. Officer McCain and Officer Shutter had the driver exit the vehicle, and he was detained. He was questioned about his real identity. He admitted to being Garrett Kirts, and he lied because he thought he had a probation violation warrant. A BMV return indicated that Garrett's driver's license was suspended, and he was suspended for a suspended infraction. I had Nicole exit the vehicle, and Kyle also exit the vehicle. Officer Shutter utilized his canine partner to perform the exterior sniff of the vehicle. Officer Shutter and Officer McCain then searched the vehicle. I was told they located a digital scale, a smoking pipe, and a syringe. The syringe was in Nicole's purse. and the pipe was under the front passenger seat. Nicole was in handcuffs after the officers found those items. I asked her about having drugs on her person because I know the jail had a body scanner. She admitted to having methamphetamines down her pants. She told me that Garrett handed it to her as I was stopping them. I called for Officer Luke, I think you would say it, Luke, so she could obtain the suspected meth. Officer Luke arrived minutes later and they walked into the VP station, or the VP restroom. Officer Luke then handed me her used latex glove that contained the suspected meth. So they completed the vehicle impound form while Officer Shutter completed the inventory. Jim's Garage arrived on scene to tow the Pontiac. Officer Shutter took possession of the suspected meth. It weighed 1.87 grams in the bag, and the field test was positive. It was placed in a plastic sleeve, heat sealed, and affixed with an evidence tag. It was then secured inside of locker 037. And close that out. Now, so that is the actual police report from the 14th. And what I've discovered is kind of interesting because, like I said, Kyle had multiple converted cases. He was arrested in December of 2019, and he had several converted cases. So there's a possibility that he was still in jail, maybe not. I've got to, either way, it was one of the Stout boys in that vehicle. But Nicole and Garrett, there was money, credit cards stolen from Ray's home. And it was stated after Nicole's murder, while in the Newton County Jail, this was a topic of conversation, that they had used Ray's money to, I believe it was Nicole used the money to bond herself out. She bonded herself out at 3 a.m. that night. And Garrett was bonded out 2 hours later. The car was impounded, and according to the Lafayette Police Department, it was impounded, and they did not have a pickup order for that car. So he said either the car was taken into custody as evidence, because remember at this time, Ray's body had not been found, or he said if it was left in the impound lot after 30 days, there would be a mechanic's lien filed on the vehicle. The towing company would then take ownership of the vehicle and more than likely resell it. So do you guys have any questions about any of that? Good evening, everybody in chat.
We have Travis has joined us, and so it's great to see Travis in the chat.
Hi, Travis. If you want to come up, you can. I sent you the link, but if you want to hang out and chat, that's fine too.
Yep, and Charismatically Clever, I think is how you say that name, is also here. ACV. I didn't neglect. I just kind of forgot to mention that I also started out as a member of the foul play team. And I am so sorry, team, that I forgot to mention that. I got a little ahead of myself. But this isn't my first time around being involved in a case that I believe is wrongfully convicted, wrongful conviction. So, but yeah. So, well, I just want to say, and it's probably not my place, and so if you need to, just stop me, Amy, but I want to make sure, because I do know this isn't about this case is about the death of a young woman, right? Nicole Bowen.
Yes, it is.
And that death was tragic and wrong, and it was horrific by the way I understand the descriptions of it. And none of what Amy is presenting is to put blame on this victim at all. What Amy's doing right now is giving you a timeline ahead of what was going on, and even though it talks about, you know, Nicole's criminal record and things like that, it's just a necessary part to explain the lifestyle and, you know, the people that she knew and perhaps was hanging out with, who she was, you know, what she was a part of. And I'm certain that as this case goes on, that will never be lost or forgotten. The you know, the loss of a very young life, and I believe she was a mom as well.
Yes,
And
she had two boys.
2 kids, 2 boys.
Yes.
So that is never going to be lost. Here, it's really difficult when there's a side who believe that justice has already been done. And in part, justice has been done, because I do believe, with what I've read and heard so far, that Garrett Kirts is guilty of actually putting hands on Nicole and committing the crime himself. That justice needs to be had, and
Absolutely.
Nicole's friends, family, and loved ones absolutely deserve that just for Nicole. What I believe is going to be shown, or you know, that Amy's trying to prove, is that the injustice in this is that somebody was wrongfully convicted of taking part in that crime. That is not at all to take away from what happened to Nicole, or to take away the justice that she deserves. So I just want to make, not that, like I said, it's not my place to say that, but I just want to point that out really quickly, so that, you know, people who, you know, start joining and start listening or watching, who are lurking, there's always a lurker on these kinds of things. You know, I'm sure we want to make sure that, you know, nobody is trying to take away from the fact that Nicole's life was horrifically and tragically taken from her.
You're absolutely right. And this part of the story is the difficult part, because you can't tell only pieces and parts of it. You have to be completely transparent with everything. So, you know, when people follow the case, you know, because when you say the case, the only one who did go to trial was Ashley. And that is where the story was laid out. And the story that was laid out, I feel, if you look at all of this, you're going to see that there was a lot of the story that was left out, that still, after that trial, people were left still kind of scratching their heads, like, how did this happen? And that's what I want to explain. I want to take time to go over, and I've done a massive amount of research and talking to people and reaching out to people that don't necessarily want to talk to you, to get, you know, their version and their take on the interactions at that time. And, you know, I've had to put it all together in a chronological order, in a timeline, so that it makes sense. And I've been able to piece together major pieces of this story that, you know, was never told. So I appreciate you saying that, Rhonda, but you're absolutely right. And I think that, you know, as time goes on, people will see that knowing the full story makes the picture a lot clearer.
I have a question. Could you give us the Cliff Notes version of Kyle versus Russell Stout? Because I'm confused. I know you probably already said it, but I didn't get it.
Okay, so there was a third person in the vehicle with Garrett and Nicole that night. And on the police report, it's listed as Kyle Brandon Stout. Kyle Stout and Russell Stout are brothers. But everyone that I have spoken to don't believe that Kyle Stout was the one in the vehicle. They believe that it was Russell, and that Russell gave his brother's name.
Okay.
Just like Garrett initially gave a false name.
Mm-hmm.
And the Stout individual was not arrested and was allowed to walk away on foot that evening. So there was no him going back to the jail and being actually properly identified
Okay.
with fingerprints and whatnot. But it's important to know that Russell Stout lived right next to Jason Palladino on Hodges Drive. And
Okay.
Palladino's residence is where Garrett had been pretty much staying. So when you hear him in his interrogation video saying that he's staying at sometimes at his mom's and at his buddies, he had been staying with Palladino with Nicole. But we'll get into all of that. But that's the significance of Kyle and Russell. And there's more to that, but that comes later. So but that's the gist of it right there as far as that arrest goes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next slide. And this was the, whoops, sorry about that. This is basically to, reiterating the dates on the calendar. They were arrested on the 14th. They bonded out on Friday the 15th. So these days and times are very important chronologically. So you've got Garrett, or you've got Ray, who they believe was murdered on the 13th. Those three are arrested on the 14th, or those two are arrested on the 14th. The Stout boy was allowed to walk away. On the 15th, they bond out. And 3 a.m., Nicole bonds out. And at 5 a.m., Garrett bonds out. And what's interesting about the fact that I've put up here from the My Case case review on the My Case website from Indiana is the only one out of the two that has charges for this arrest was Garrett. And when I called and talked to the Lafayette Police Department, they informed me that there's no charges listed because Nicole was arrested and she would have been charged because of the paraphernalia, but that the prosecutor makes the final decision in filing those charges. And that if it's not on there, then the prosecutor chose not to file charges. And that's going to be significant later on. So next on the slide, this is another detailed. This is a detailed map of Hodges Road, which is where Nicole and Garrett were staying, and assuming that on the 17th and 18th is where I've been able to track down the dates for this. Assuming they left from this residence on Hodges Drive, Garrett takes Nicole an hour and 6 minutes away out to Crawfordsville. And because there was no media coverage about Ray's body being found, I can only assume that they went out there because they were anticipating his body being found, or they had been driving by that residence. But Ray's body was discovered on the 17th. And on the 18th, they are out at a location in Crawfordsville. And on this date, Nicole, on March 18th, Nicole posts on Facebook and says, "I'm in the country where my country ass belongs." And she shares several pictures of herself and a picture of her boots. And the individual's home that they went to said this was a random visit. And I'm just going to play a quick excerpt from that interview because we'll get into the rest of that interview later on down the road. So let me see here. Did that change? Rhonda, did the screen change or no?
No.
Okay, one second here.
And if you want to take down the comment, just click on remove last comment or that you've got on the screen there from Cherie.
Oh, okay.
And then we can see more of the presentation.
And where do I do that at? Where do I
Just
hit remove
click,
last?
just click on her comment again, and it'll hide it
Well, it didn't.
on the right side.
Oh,
It's okay.
let me see.
It's okay. I don't need
I
to.
don't see it. Yeah, it's not letting. I can't see
Yeah,
that.
you'd have to probably scroll back up to where, but it's okay. You're just fine.
I'll figure it
So
out.
you're
I'll
fine.
figure it out
Yep.
eventually.
Yep. It just takes a minute. You're fine.
Okay, let me see here. All right, this is an interview that was done with a gentleman by the name of Jeff, and I'm just going to go into the very beginning of it where he talks about Garrett, how he knows Garrett, and them coming out to the property.
What are we going ahead with? We're going to
Okay, go ahead with where you were wanting to start with how you met Garrett.
it was like 2017. And, so it's been a couple of years or whatever, not even a couple of years, whatever. Whenever this whole event happened, is like the next time that I'd even heard anything from Garrett. So he hit me up and was like, wanting to know if him and Nicole could come out and ride horses with us. And I was like, yeah, sure, dude, whatever, you know. So him and Nicole show up out at my dad's house out here, and we hang out for the afternoon, ride horses. The next day, they get up and they leave, you know. So everything seemed to be cool, whatever.
So
And,
you don't remember? Okay, so in reference to that, like,
yeah.
so was it a week? Was it 2 weeks before he came back out there with Ashley, or was it within the same time frame, like within days?
I'd say it was probably, you know, because time, all that time is like runs together for me, you know. So it's just like I'd be a safe bet to be like it was a week or so later, week and a half later, something like that.
Okay.
I think, you know, like I told you before, I'm not really all that going to be all that useful for you on dates, and I could just tell you the events that happened, you know. So
Okay. Were they? Do you know what kind of car they were in? I think I asked you that before.
when Nicole and Garrett showed up, they was in some like little gray foreign car. I didn't pay too much attention to it, but
Was it like a Scion?
yeah, it could have been. It was like a little 2-door gray car.
Okay.
I remember the front bumper was missing on it.
Okay.
And he
I
went into this big elaborate story of how they was going. I don't know. They was out in the country, hit a deer or whatever. It just recently happened, or I don't know. You know, the dude's so full of shit that, you know. So, but anyhow, so when I meet Nicole, you know, they leave.
What were they like with each other while they were there? What was she like?
I don't know. It's just kind of weird because she was like, "Hey, do you care if I sit in your truck?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't care." You know what I mean? So she was in the truck, and Garrett and I was in the barn, and we was getting horses saddled up, and we was, you know, getting ready to go for a ride. And then he was asking her if she wanted to go. Well, she didn't want to go with us on the horses, so she just hung out there at the truck, you know, that was pulled up by the barn. So, like, I didn't even think nothing about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, they seemed to get along. So Garrett and I went riding for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, something like that.
Uh-huh.
We got back to the barn, saddled the horses. They hung out rest of the evening. The next day, you know, when daylight broke, they were like, all right, well, we're leaving. We're heading out. Hey, thanks for having us. So they leave, and then I would say, you know, whatever, week and a half, 2 weeks at the most, Garrett hits.
So that was Jeff describing when that was on. I believe that was around I'm assuming the 18th, based on Nicole's Facebook posts and his memory. You know, it's been what 4 or 5 years, 4 years now figuring out, trying to remember those events. But I thought it was important that we play that. Get back over here to this.
Well, it's always beneficial to see and hear other viewpoints or other commentary, other documentation, other testimony from all different sides. It kind of helps round out the situation or the case a little bit better. So if it's okay, I just wanted to mention a couple of things from chat, Amy, if you don't mind.
Oh, that's good. No, perfect. Go ahead.
Okay. So a little bit back, ACV, I hope I addressed your question about my comment about the media. I hope that made more sense when I tried to explain it. I had said something. I said something, and it provoked a question from Grismatically Clever, and he said AG's innocent. And I just responded that I believe there's definitely reasonable doubt as to her conviction. I'm not familiar enough with the case yet, but from what I've seen so far, if I had been on that jury, there's reasonable doubt for me that she's guilty of taking part at all in the murder. So I did have a question about Grismatically Clever then said, makes sense. JCP backstabbed GK by getting with AG. So because I'm not familiar with all of the acronyms or the initials yet, I was just wondering if you could explain that to me, at least a little bit of what Grismatically is speaking about.
Okay, I can't. I'm looking for it in the chat. They said who backstabbed who?
He said makes sense. JCP backstabbed GK. I'm guessing Garrett Kirts by getting with AG. I'm guessing is Ashley Garth, but I don't know who JCP is. Is that Jason Palladino?
Yes, that's Jason Clinton Palladino.
Okay, gotcha.
Palladino, I believe, is involved in this. Palladino and Ashley it didn't have anything to do with Jason and Ashley hooking up at all. But there's a story to be told there. I don't want to jump that far ahead, but yes. Yeah, they're talking about JP. I refer, GK or G. You'll notice, I'm sure you've noticed throughout these interviews, that's what some of these people refer to him as G.
Right.
JP, just for short, is Jason Palladino.
Got it. So, okay, I wondered. I just wasn't sure about the C part. Travis has said that this case is so fascinating, and what is even more intriguing is that it's relevant because at least 2 of the key people are involved in a previous murder case that hasn't even gone to trial yet. So, correct. Yes, it's very fascinating and very intriguing. And Brother Jack has joined.
Hi, Jack.
And then ACV asked, did Kyle have any aliases?
I'm sorry?
ACV asks, did Kyle have any aliases?
That I don't know. Okay. I don't know. All I know is that when I was finally able to get my hands on the actual police report, when I found out that it was Kyle, because I wasn't even aware initially that there was even a third person that was reported to be in the vehicle. But right. I do know that around that time, there were phone calls made to, so if anyone's in the chat that hasn't watched my previous timeline videos, when you go back to the backstory that I did a couple of weeks ago, and prior to that, we also covered some timeline of events where we talked about how Garrett in January had broke into Ashley's home. When that happened and he brutally assaulted her, he took her phone. So throughout the course of these months, from January 21st until the end of, or until March 13th, Garrett had Ashley's phone and was using Ashley's phone. Ashley was getting messages on Facebook. She could only get on Facebook Messenger through her PlayStation, through her son's PlayStation, because she didn't have a phone. So she had gotten Facebook messages from people saying, is that you on Garrett's phone? Or is that you texting me? You know, basically, Garrett was doing some really inappropriate things on Ashley's phone. And prior to January 21st, Ashley had discovered some very questionable things about Garrett and his sexuality. And she had even conveyed this to her family prior to any of this even happening. So there was a couple of messages that came through, like, you know, did you ask me for that kind of a picture? Like that sort of thing. So anyway, there were phone calls made to that phone, and that Garrett had in his possession that Russell Stout is the one who answered the phone, who was with Garrett. So that's how Russell got put into this, because everyone is saying it was more than likely Russell. That was one of Garrett's running buddies, not Kyle. Kyle was Russell's younger brother. Right. So I think it's, you know, there's a 50-50 chance that it could be Russell or it could be Kyle, but it's one of them that was in that call.
Well, and that's something that I've noticed with what I've done so far, is that there's a lot of phone passing around going on.
There is. There's a lot of phones.
It gets really confusing. But it's just, you know, once you get to know the case better, just like with me and Daniel's case, you know, with 13 accusers, it's hard to keep it all, you know, in line. But once you get more familiar, you know, then it's easier to do that. So, and then ACB, I just want to get some of these questions really quick before you start again. ACB asks, did Garrett often use Gavin as an alias?
I don't know. And I don't know if Gavin is if it's someone that he knows, like a family member. I can ask. That's a good question for me to ask Ashley, because she would know. But I don't know. I do know that he had multiple converted cases prior. He did have a suspended license. He had recently been arrested in, I believe it was Carroll County, for theft over $700. So you know, him using an alias, you know, obviously made sense, because he probably figured he had a warrant. But that's definitely a question that I can ask Ashley, if that's a family member, because Gavin Kirts obviously is someone who exists, because they were able to look him up when they ran the 50 from the police car. So, by the way, I forgot to mention earlier, I'm a former 911 dispatcher and call taker. So I worked for a pretty large metropolitan police department for a while. So I always dumb things down a little bit, like, you know, when they're doing the check in the car, it was always they running a 50 for me. So that's why I refer to it as that.
No, it's okay.
So, okay, I'm going to move on to the next slide. And this next one here is also another Facebook post that Nicole made on March 18th. Is interesting to me. It's when they were more than likely out at Jeff's property. She makes a Facebook post that says, "Be careful what you tell people. A friend today could be an enemy tomorrow." And in light of, you know, I had some questions over here on the side, like, who could she be referring to, and who was she hanging around with that she may have thought was her friend, that she may at this point in time feel that maybe she had said something to the wrong person. So that was on the 18th as well. And then the next slide. So, and this is where we're going to get into, there's these dates right here. I feel like I've done a pretty good job of pinpointing what they were doing, what was going on between the 14th and the 18th. If they were out there at Jeff's on the 18th and spent the night, and Jeff said they left that morning, it would have been the 19th. So and they obviously had to have been on decent terms throughout that weekend. However, something transpired throughout the duration of this week. And I've got a couple of sources that I'm working with right now who seem to know a little bit about it. So I'm only just going to touch on the basics that I know. But at some point leading up to Sunday, the 24th, there was an incident that happened at Jason Palladino's property. And just to explain, it's very evident based on a couple of the interrogation videos that Nicole was staying on that property, and they call that property the compound. There's multiple trailers, and there's several people who live there. And Garrett had taken Nicole there, and she began staying there with Talitha. Talitha Beckley also stayed there because Talitha and Jason Palladino were girlfriend and boyfriend at that time. But so through these interviews, there's an incident that's touched upon a couple of times, and they basically are conveying that Nicole's keys, her car keys, were taken, and they were taken by Jason, and they were given to Garrett. And Nicole is frantically looking for her keys, and I guess is under the impression that someone has taken the car keys. And they were taken because Garrett wanted access to her vehicle. I don't know why. I don't know what it was that he wanted in the vehicle or what have you. But he had the car. This was all discussed in the Newton County Jail that Ashley overheard because Ashley was not involved in any of this. Her and Garrett had not been really together during these, the months of February and March. So Garrett had the keys to Nicole's car in his pocket the entire time, but was pretending to help her look for them. And when she started getting irate, she basically came out and said that she was going to call the police if she didn't get her keys back. And that set Jason off. Jason got the keys apparently back from Garrett, threw the keys at her, and they landed on the ground by her car tire. And he told her to get off the property. And apparently he didn't want her back on the property. And that had to have transpired somewhere within these days, because from the 25th on, I pretty much can prove where Garrett is, and he's not in contact with Nicole physically until the 28th. So that's interesting, but I'm working on getting the details of that. I'm not even sure if I will get the details to that, but it is discussed in the interviews that we're going to go through over the course of the next weeks and months. So did you guys have any questions about that before I move on to the next one?
I don't.
Okay.
So I've heard this story, about this event, but why were her keys? Somebody took her keys purposely, or?
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
So I'll explain a little bit of what I know. I know that there was, so when they were arrested, and it's notated in the police report that Nicole tells the officer that Garrett handed her the methamphetamines. Okay. There is reason to believe that there was paperwork found in her vehicle by Garrett. And where Nicole had sat down that evening with the drug task force in Lafayette and agreed to do a controlled buy for the drug task force. And she signed it, and it was in her vehicle, and it was found. And that is what that could possibly be the reason that she was able to bond out that night, and why the charges never showed up on her case. And it's also suspected that the money that was used that they had stolen from Ray, they only had so much, and that money was used to bail herself out. And there's reason to believe, I can't prove it. I might down the road be able to prove it, but it all does line up throughout the course of events that apparently she put up her title to her vehicle for $500 to bond Garrett out of jail that night. That's why he was bonded out 2 hours later. And throughout the course of this time, at one point, the $500 that was owed to get her title back, Garrett paid $250 of it out of his own money. So in Garrett's mind, until the title was paid for, he felt he owned the car. That's my understanding. And until I see otherwise, or a couple of my sources finish getting the information for me, but that's what the possibility to this car key situation could be.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me. So we're going to move on. Now, this right here is what I believe is really probably what sets Garrett off. Because as I stated before, there was no media coverage when Ray's body was found on the 17th. And initially, his death was ruled that he died from natural causes. And it wasn't until 6 months later that his death certificate, the cause of death, came out, and it stated that it was homicide. It was strangulation by asphyxia, or by ligature, I'm sorry. But on the 24th, at this point, I can only assume it makes sense that they're now putting two and two together, because after Ray's body was removed from his home, his family was allowed in to retrieve his belongings. They said his apartment was completely trashed. It looked as though there had been a party, and his television was missing, and his car was missing. Well, by the 24th, I'm assuming that the police have now figured out, well, the car was impounded in Lafayette, and it had been pulled over, and it was occupied by these people. So on the 24th of March, which is a Sunday, that weekend, Indiana State detectives arrive at Ashley Garth's home looking to make contact with Garrett. He's not there, but Ashley begins to attempt to contact Garrett through Facebook Messenger. And she also begins to make Facebook posts calling out Garrett's sexuality. They did not tell her when they showed up at her house about a murder, but they did tell her that they felt that he had been involved in a relationship with a gay man, because Ray was a gay male. So she starts reaching out, like, what is going on? Why are the police here looking for you? What now? What have you done now? Da 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 da. And on this same day, the police show up. The detectives, whoops, got ahead of myself. The police also show up at Nicole's mother's home looking to make contact with Nicole. She didn't live at the residence, so they didn't make contact. So again, we can only speculate that this has to do with both Garrett and Nicole being in Ray's car. And that was on March 24th. That's a Sunday. I don't know if Nicole's family attempted to contact her and say, hey, detectives were here, what's going on? That I do not know. But on Monday, the 25th, Garrett shows up at Ashley's house and she wants him to leave. He's flipping out, going off, and at 2:01 in the morning, she is admitted into the Indiana University Health White Memorial Hospital. And this incident, I apparently, hindsight's 2020. She feels completely stupid and upset at herself for, I guess the only way that I can explain it is that Ashley was so used to being hit, abused by him, that to her, this was just another day at the merry-go-round. And he took her to the hospital, and she allowed him to lie and say that she had been in an ATV accident. And this excerpt right here is noted in the chart from the doctor, stating that the friend who brought her in, stated that the 26-year-old female presents with dyspnea since just PTA. I'm not really sure what that means. Maybe Travis can bring it up because Travis went through this document. If he wants to discuss that in the chat and let me know what the dyspnea and the just PTA is. But the friend reports that they were in an ATV accident yesterday. PT hit her chest on the tree stump, but was not thrown from the four-wheeler. She was breathing, but had loss of consciousness, so they performed chest compressions on her. PT has been fined, or I'm assuming maybe patient, that might mean patient, has been fined until just PTA when she began complaining of worsening dyspnea and chest pain, and she denies cough and fever. So this was on Monday the 25th.
Amy?
Yes.
So PT is patient, and PTA,
Okay.
I believe PTA is prior to accident.
Okay, prior to accident. Gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense. But that was the notation. I believe she left the hospital with a couple of bruises on the face. She had bruising on the neck. But she did, she says she was knocked out. He kicked her, and actually what had happened was he wouldn't leave her home, and she was in the process of moving out of the home because Garrett, they would not keep Garrett in jail. He had been arrested on January 21st for breaking in, duct taping her, hog tying her, kicking her, strangling her unconscious multiple times. He had taken apart the piping in the bathroom. He had a saw. They arrested him. He got out like a week and a half later and continued to harass her. On the 28th of February, so this is 13 days before he kills Ray Hainish, he violated the restraining order by coming in her back door again, not knowing that her stepfather was there because they were moving items out of the home. So he was arrested for invasion of privacy. Ashley was there, and why he wasn't held is I do not know. But he actually bonded out. His dad bonded him out of jail on February 28th for $500 that same day. So small county, he tends to be able to do whatever he wants to do. And, it is what it is. She was a victim of the abuse. And I don't, as much as she was abused, I don't believe that I don't believe it was until she actually went to prison and has gone through tons of counseling that she really identifies herself as being, a victim of domestic violence, but she was. So that's where Garrett is on March 25th, which is a Monday, the day after the detectives are both at Ashley's home looking for him and at Nicole's home looking for her. Also, on Monday, March 25th, Nicole sends these text messages to her sister. I'm in trouble. Do you care if I'm alive or dead? Real talk. The sister responds, I care, but I'm in no position to help you change your life. That is up to you. I don't have a timestamp for those text messages, but the next ones were sent that same evening from the sister at 8:04 p.m. The sister sends a text that says, what kind of trouble are you in? And at 9:01, an hour later, she responds and Nicole says, I need a place to stay. So that's on Monday. So it's pretty telling, the timeline, and what seems to be a continuous boiling pot of things getting ready to implode, basically, is the way I see it. Also, on this same day, this is pretty chilling. Also, I don't have a timestamp on this, but also on March 25th, that Monday, Nicole posts on Facebook, and she posts a picture of a meme, and the meme says, anyone that really gets to know me either falls in love with me or wants to murder me, sometimes both. Garrett actually comments on this post and states, concrete shoes, bitch, F around and find out. Nicole comments back, point proven, LMAO.
It's pretty harsh.
Uh-huh. And that's why I believe when we go back to those days in between and the incident about the car keys, her being told to get off the property, that all aligns with this right here. And I think this is the day that Garrett really starts to go into panic mode. Like, what is he going to do? But that is my opinion. And so that's on March 25th, a Monday. Ashley is released from the hospital, but from the hospital, Garrett would keep Ashley from returning home. And we have an interview to share with a witness who tried to intervene with Ashley on March 26th, but this interview is going to be shared at another time because of its length. That'll be a whole different episode that I do. So with that being said, that was Tuesday, March 26th. On Wednesday, March 27th, Garrett takes Ashley to a trailer in Kentland. This trailer belongs to Jasmine Parker, and Ashley had never been there before. And this is an overview picture of that location. This is Jasmine Parker's trailer. This is the driveway, and you can see there's an addition on the back here. And we're going to get into all of that. We're going to get into the floor plan of the trailer, the movements inside the trailer that night, the furniture, who was where and when. We're going to get into all of that later. But I really feel it's important that we get started because I know that a lot of people are very interested in hearing about these interviews and, from Garrett's interviews, because his interview has never been seen by the public. It wasn't played at trial. It wasn't permitted to be played at trial. There was no transcript of either of his interviews at trial. So I want to take the opportunity. We can answer some questions in the chat before we get started with that, and then we'll jump into it. So Rhonda, are you seeing any new, you're a little bit more savvy at this than I am. Are you able to see any new questions?
Let's see. There's some comments. Charismatically clever. Sorry, I turn my fan off.
Okay, so Freckle Joy says Gavin Kirts is Garrett's little brother. Okay, good to know. That I did not know.
There you go.
Yep, so that explains that. Yeah, he gave his brother's name. So maybe Russell Stout did the same thing and gave his brother's name. I don't know.
Yeah, could be. Could be. Charismatically Clever says that Chris Mathis, I think that's who he's talking about, thinks that Ashley has a dark manipulative side to her. And then below that, he says. So,
Well, Chris Mathis,
I-
Chris Mathis is the other individual that was charged in this case. And what's interesting about that is, um, you know, Chris likes to talk, but Chris had never met Ashley before Wednesday, the 27th. He's never been around Ashley. And I can tell you factually that when they were in jail, um, Ashley was ostracized by all of them. She didn't care to be around them. In fact, I think that she in her own head began to put the pieces together as to what really possibly had transpired that night. And after she was out on bond, Chris Mathis got out on bond. And Chris continuously kept trying to reach out to Ashley, and Ashley was not responding. But what Ashley was doing was every piece of communication that she had, she was forwarding to her attorney. I have the emails, I have the text messages, and she told Lori she was scared. I don't know why he wants to talk to me, but here's the messages that he sent me. There were letters that were passed around in the jail that there's several that were passed to Ashley. They would pass them through the laundry. They would pass them. Actually, there was a guard that Garrett had talked into passing notes for him. And all of those letters Ashley gave to her attorney, including a letter that she intercepted accidentally that Garrett and Talitha had been writing back and forth to each other. And that letter is also at her attorney's office. So Chris Mathis, he might have an opinion based on maybe what Garrett told him. But as you will see, as we go into this interview, I really wanted to play a couple. I didn't have time to put it together. But for those of you who are familiar with Open Secrets, and you go back and you listen to Garrett switching on again and off again to how good of mother Ashley was, and how she's not capable of ever being a part of anything like the Delphi murders. Okay. There's a point in time where his anger completely turned against her, and that was because he became fully aware that she told the truth. He states in Open Secrets interviews that I'm the only one who told the truth. I'm the only one who came forward and told the truth about everything. Well, we're going to see what his version of the truth is by watching this interrogation video. And I get very aggravated because it's frustrating to see how somebody who is betrayed so horribly publicly, and now that for 8-9 months now that I speak with Ashley every single day, and a lot of this information that I've discovered, she didn't even know. And I'm like, how did you not know this? And she's like, and so I didn't know. Like, when I finally got my hands on these interviews and the things that the way things were said, it all started to make sense. Like, for her, oh my God, this is what they did. And I think that's very telling. But I want everybody to listen to these videos as we go through them, and make up their own mind. You don't have to think the way that I think. You don't have to agree with my opinion of what transpired that night. That's what we're here for, is to bring it out in the light, and everybody can make up their own mind. But eventually this case is going to go back to court at some point.
Okay, that's good. I do want to read a comment by Cheryl Samuels.
Okay.
She says, I can tell you about Nicole's car. I know for a fact that Nicole never titled the car. Sergeant Wilson ran a search for me. The $500 was for Nicole's bail money after the arrest in Ray's car. I know because I was contacted by the Tippecanoe County Court.
Okay.
Yep, I just read it. Sorry, Cheryl. I
Right.
just read it
Right.
out for you.
And that leads me and that leads me into address the rest of that story, because and we're not going to get there until we actually get into Talitha's videos or video. But I believe that Nicole's title had not been transferred yet because the people that she bought the car from could possibly be related to Jason Palladino. And there is a time where Garrett and Talitha, with Ashley in the back seat of the car, go to this property to retrieve the title to discuss the money that's owed on the title that was taken for the bailing out of Nicole and Garrett. Now the details are sketchy, but that is a fact. They did go there, and the title was there, and the title was retrieved from there. This was on Friday the 29th, I believe, if I have my dates right. And Cheryl is Nicole's mother. So hello, Cheryl, and I'm sorry for your loss.
Oh, hi, Cheryl. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I truly, truly am sorry for your
Right.
loss, and thank you for your comment.
What I understand is that that they just kind of had this person like, okay, we hold this and give us $500 and then we'll buy it back from you later. Is that what?
And see, that is what is so questionable, because I know that Nicole had informed her family that she was going to have the registration and title mailed to their home and to be on the lookout for it. But then they go to this trailer after her death, and Talitha and Garrett tell these people that they had just dropped Nicole off at rehab and they needed the title to the car, and there was $250 still owed on the title, and that they were going to take the title. Now, this part of it came from Ashley, because now we do know, I mean, you guys have heard the interviews, this is talked about, but Ashley said in the car and in that trailer that basically the title is laid on the counter, and Garrett is explaining because he paid out of pocket $250. He was going to take the title to Nicole's mother because she was going to pay the other $250. So what that whole ordeal was, I cannot say for a fact. All I know is that incident did happen. There was something with money exchanged for the title and vice versa. And the title was at this trailer. And when the title was laid on the counter and the conversations in the room continued, Ashley said Garrett reached over, picked up the title, and slid it into his pocket. So he left that trailer with the title to Nicole's car, is what she stated.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Talitha talked about that too in her interview.
She did. She did.
Okay,
And she
that's
makes
what I thought.
she makes it very clear that they had to go there at that point in time because the people whose property where the title was at more than likely wouldn't answer the door for Garrett. They would only answer the door for her, which is
Okay.
also telling.
Cheryl says, not true. I never met Garrett.
I exactly. I know this. And
Yeah.
that feeds right into Garrett and his lying. Well, I'll let him speak for himself.
And then she said it has never been found.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to, are you guys ready for me to go into this video?
Let's do it.
Okay. And I'm going to, I believe he's left sitting in this interrogation room for quite some time before they come in. And when they come in, I'm just going to pick it up where they start to read him his Miranda rights. So let me get in here. And I think that, maybe we'll stop after, we'll go into it for about 15, 20 minutes or so. Then we'll take a break and answer some more questions. And then we'll keep going until, and I don't know if we're going to get through the whole thing this evening. If we do, great. If not, we'll pick up where we left off.
All right. Sounds good.
So he just sits here for a while. He doesn't ever say anything throughout this time. He just stares at the wall. He's probably crapping his pants. I hope he is. We're 11 minutes in. He's still sitting. And I forgot to mention too, at this point, this is immediately after he was set up by another individual that we'll get into later. But he was in Nicole's car, and he thought he was going to meet someone to sell Nicole's car to this individual, but this person had actually set him up. So he ran in the car through a cornfield and got caught and arrested.
Squeeze through. All right, but hey, my name is Detective Rowe. Mike from County Sheriff's Office, and this is Sergeant Wilson from Newton County, okay? We want to talk to you about a couple things. Apparently you got a little muddy, stuff like that. We want to talk to you, but I have to read you this form before we do.
Can I take this sweatshirt off by chance? Is that an option?
Probably do that.
Yeah, can we kind of get it going and then we'll figure it out.
Actually,
yeah, I do. You got one under? All right. Uh, 4-1. Jasper. All right, like I said, you're sitting here in cuffs. All right. So these are just your Miranda rights. It's pretty normal that we read these to you, okay? So I'm going to read them to you, and hopefully you'll be willing to talk with us for about a few minutes here. My name, DM Rowe, 4/1/2019, 1:58 p.m., Jasper County Sheriff's Department for location, okay? Your rights. Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions, and have them with you during questioning. You also have the right to stop answering at any time to talk to a lawyer. So to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you'll still have the right to stop answering at any time. You also have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to a lawyer. Understand all that? You're not a juvenile, so it doesn't matter for you there. Waiver. I've read this statement of my rights. I understand what my rights are. I'm willing to make a statement and answer questions. I do not want a lawyer at this time. I understand and know what I am doing. No promises or threats have been made to me, and no pressure or coercion, which is kind of being forced, of any kind has been used against me. I understand all that. Okay, we'd like to talk to you, and at any time you can stop. But before we do that, I just have to get your signature on there saying that you're good with that. You good? So please just sign it and then print your name under it, because half the time people can't read my signature. So
We'll get the cuffs off after that.
we'll then take a sweatshirt. Yeah,
and
you're in this other facility. I'm not sure what the policies and stuff like that are, but
we'll get the sweatshirt off.
all right, but just so I know, like I said, I introduced myself. So Garrett Kirts,
TS.
Kirts. Okay, and where you living, Garrett?
I'm living in Dope, living around from my mom's or my buddy's house in Delphi. That's about it.
Okay, and what's your address there?
My mom's address is,
Your buddy's your mom's. Where you living?
I bounce back and forth.
Okay.
My mom's address is 10413 South Spring Road. It's like my grandma's, and my mom stays there from time to time, so I guess I call my grandma and grandpa's house.
Okay.
And my friend is off of 600 in Delphi.
All right. Okay. Do you have cuff key on you? What we're gonna do is I gotta grab my phone. But yeah, we'll do that. And I'm gonna grab my phone. I'll be back with it.
Keep your hands up here on the table. Okay, that's fine. Are you going to take this?
Yeah, sure. I'll take that off there.
I don't think there's anything in the pocket.
Okay.
Put your hands back down. Put this back on there.
You're just hot. You just want to take it off?
Well, no, I got mud down the fucking back of my neck and shit. I want to make fall about my shirt.
Okay. I'll be right back. Don't get much room in here, do they? All right. So do you know what we're here to talk about?
Honestly, no, I don't. I was told to bring the car up here and exchange it. And when you guys pulled in, I freaked the fuck out because I don't even know what the fuck's going on. My first thought was, okay, I'm being set up by somebody.
For what though? What would you be set up for?
I don't know. Because I was told today to bring the car up here by a guy named King. And he said, go take the car here, you're getting another one, bring it back to me, and I'll make sure everything's okay with you. I'm like, why wouldn't anything be okay with me? What the fuck did I do? I mean, when I took off, my first initial thing was just hit the highway and take off. I didn't mean to like tear everybody's fucking property or nothing like that, but I fucking scared to death. I'm scared to death.
Apparently, you did take off, and it's what, it's just a field?
No, yeah, I mean, because I haven't been in trouble since last time I got arrested. December or January, me and my girlfriend had gotten into it, and she hit me, and I pushed her off of me, and she called the police, and I got a domestic battery. But then I went to jail. I get out that week after, and she recanted her statements because we both beat shit out of each other. Neither one of us is justifiable. But
Who was that girlfriend?
Ashley Garth.
I forgot that. Just put your date of birth right there. Okay. So take me through, so you have a girlfriend. I'm going to try to keep this straight in my head. You have a girlfriend, what's her name?
Ashley Garth.
Okay. And so how long have you been?
Me and her have been together off and on like over the past 3 or 4 years.
Okay. So do you have any ties to Newton County?
My buddy Chris Mathis lives up here. That's about it.
Okay. And what else?
Just that.
Just that?
I've come up here to visit him a couple of times. He lives over there. If you turn left at the gas station and go to past the Casey's or the Citgo or whatever, he lives You turn left, what is it? It's the Casey's. You turn left past the Casey's and go over the tracks. And there's this second stop sign on the right hand side.
You still live down off of like First Street?
He might, I mean, does he stay out the trailer park too sometimes? Or is he
Yeah,
just
I
hanging
took
out
him out there to get his tattoo shit.
Okay. But you thinking he lives right there?
I'm
past
pretty sure
Casey's
that's where he's
house?
staying at.
So tell me about this trailer park north of town.
Some girl named Jasmine lives there.
Okay. And how do you know Jasmine?
Through Chris. I took him out there to get his tattoo stuff, and he said that, oh, my tattoo shit's here. Come over, she's cool. And she's like, oh, well, I'm Jasmine, nice to meet you. And she talked about how she had a warrant and all this, and she was living out there. So when you pull in to the trailer park, you go to the entrance with the red fire hydrant and turn right, and it's the first trailer. But you have to go past the house where the girl owns it, or whatever her name is, a big farmhouse on the right side.
Yeah.
If you go past that, you can turn right, or you can go straight, and there's like a whole black Lincoln car at the second trailer, and she lives right here.
Yeah, I think it's a blue trailer.
Yeah.
So who all lives there?
Just Jasmine, as far as I know.
Jasmine having kids?
I don't know that I know of. She didn't have any there.
Okay. So when was the last time you were out there?
Who, I came up here, what is it, this Monday? Tuesday, I think, last week.
Okay.
I was up here till the day after, but I took Chris back to his mom, and then me and my girlfriend went home.
Okay. So what day exactly were you?
I was up here Monday and till Tuesday morning, and I went back home.
Okay. Some of the info I was getting was that you were up here later in the week than that.
I mean, I was up here later, I might have been up here later in the week, but I'm not sure. It was Monday, Tuesday, and then I went back home and I came back up here because Chris was supposed to finish my tattoos, and he hadn't even finished doing this one. I had to go to the second place. It's just Lone Wolf. It's been my nickname since I was a kid because all my friends, I'd have a friend, and then growing up, like my mom always said, because you're going to be the leader of the pack, but you're going to be by yourself. That's what my mom would always call me, because all my friends would they tried to influence me into doing shit, and I was young, and if I was like 6 years old, a kid influenced me to throw rocks at the window with him, and I busted the window out of this house, and we got in trouble for it, and Mom got in trouble for it.
Okay, so you come back up to finish the tats. On what day would that have been?
That'd been Wednesday, I believe. It should be on my no, I just bought that phone. It should be on my Facebook somewhere.
Okay. What's your you said you just got the phone?
Yeah.
What's your phone number now? Just so if I need to reach back out to you.
765.
Yeah, stand by here. Yep.
765.
Yep.
336. 2911.
2911?
Yeah.
All right. And do you go by Garrett?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you have your middle name or what?
Garrett.
Just Garrett?
Did you have a phone number before that from an old phone by chance, or?
Yeah, what was your number before that one?
I had a text now that used to be connected to my old Facebook. It's 280-6621, I believe. No. Yeah, 280-6621, 765 area code.
765-280-6621.
Okay.
And that wasn't just a regular phone plan?
No, it was my phone. It was running off of Wi-Fi, so I had to use text now whenever I got internet. Like if I got somewhere with Xfinity, I could log into my grandma's Xfinity account and call from like if I needed to use the phone. Other than that, I didn't have a cell phone until now.
Does Jasmine out there, does she have Wi-Fi?
I believe so. But yeah, she had Wi-Fi, but I think she got it off her neighbor. So I don't know if she has Wi-Fi there, but I know I got Xfinity or Netgear or something like that out there.
Xfinity or Netgear? Yeah. Okay. I just thought okay, so you believe you were last out there Wednesday night to Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay, take me through what you did that day. Literally from the time you woke up that morning, because I don't have a clue. So what did you do that day?
When I woke up that morning, me and my girlfriend and took a shower and shit. My buddy called, which was Chris, and he said, "Hey man," he goes, "Why don't you come up here and hang out for a little bit?" Okay. So we come up there, and when I got here, my phone took me, the GPS, it took me way the fuck out that way to where the cones are, it told me to turn right and go down the country road, and there's like a blue house on the right corner, and it told me to, like, the GPS took me right to the middle of the road, so I called Chris, I'm like, where the fuck am I at? He said, oh, it took you on down. He's like, come back to the highway, turn right, and then come back to the gas station and turn right where the Jeep is. So I called him, I turned right to the Jeep, went to a stop sign, turned left, tried to Casey's, went over, picked him up at his house. And he said, we're going to go out here to the trailer park real quick. And I said, what's at the trailer park? He's like, my friend Jasmine. I think I've known Chris for a while, but I used to work with him in exterior view in Lafayette. And one day he was like all fucked up. And I couldn't even understand him one day. And he was up, down. And then he had fallen asleep and he was sweating profusely. So the only thing I'm thinking is, man, I hope he's on fucking bullshit again. We go out there and I ended up meeting Jasmine and she seemed all right. But she was all nice and she let my girlfriend here use her makeup and trim her nails and what have you. And they're talking and they became like really good friends. So Chris is supposed to do my tattoos, but he can't find an Allen wrench to finish his, like to tighten his tattoo needle to go up with. So we looked for hours for that out in the, like, where the trailer's at. It's kind of hard to explain. There's like an add-on where you go through the door at. And we looked for Allen wrenches out there for like 30 minutes and went back inside and I tore the kitchen apart and like the cup-wise, she had a bunch of cups with like pennies and shit in it, and like phone charger screws. So I figured one of them might be in there, but we never could find one. Spent a little bit of time out there. I fell asleep. I fell asleep. I mean, Ashley fell asleep on the couch. Chris ended up, when I woke up that morning, he wasn't there, and I asked Jasmine, when the hell did Chris go? She goes, oh, he left. I'm like, where the fuck did he go? Then he ended up being, what's that town over?
Which way?
If you go up the highway, if you're coming from, where the trailer park's at, where the orange cones are, if you get, instead of turning and going off to get to the trailer park, he goes up straight. Brooke. He was at his aunt's or something like that, I want to say. And every time I asked him to send me the address, but he never would. He's like, man, this is my family's house. I can't have people over like that. And it kind of, I didn't understand why he would bring me all the way out here and have me stay, but then leave the next morning. And I had to wait for him to get all the way back to his mom's house so I could go over there again and get a hold of him. He has my pants. I've already paid him for the tattoo, which was I have a $200 pair of Rock Revival jeans I let him have. And he said he's going to finish my hand, but he never did. I talked to him today and he said he was down south.
Okay. Who's one of your, how many, like you say lone wolf, like who's like a really good close friend to you?
My girlfriend, Ashley. Okay. That's about it.
How about a guy that you just like, you've been riding with ever since you might have been young or something like that? I mean, everyone, might be lone wolf, but they always got.
I mean, this is just based off of what my mom.
No, I know, but I'm saying everybody
Snowberger is my only guy-wise. I mean, I have acquaintances, but I don't, considering close friend like you just asked Jimmy Snowberger, we've been friends since I was shitting you up. We used to ride dirt bikes together. His mom used to change my diapers, and my mom used to change his diapers.
Where does he live?
Delphi.
Delphi.
There's a karate dojo off the same road he lives in. It's called Snows, and it's actually his grandpa that has it.
The last time you saw him?
Last time I saw him, I see him about every week.
Okay.
I'd say a couple weeks ago, something like that.
Do you know his phone number by chance?
765.
Yeah.
479. 475. What is it? It's 479 or 497-6053. I want to say. I mean, I can get it if you guys will know.
Yeah, I'm just asking you. You thought it's 479 or
497-6053. No, 7093. That's what. Yeah, 7093. 479 7093.
And last name again?
Snowberger.
Just like snow and then just like hamburger?
Berger. And there's a junior and senior. He's a junior.
Okay, good enough. Okay, so who all was at Jasmine's trailer that night, on Wednesday night?
Me, Ashley, Jasmine, Chris, and fuck was her name? Jasmine had some girl come over there. She was a lesbian chick. She drove a red Monte Carlo. I want to say Chrissy or something like that.
And she took Jasmine to town to get cigarettes and then came back and then she left. But she was a lesbian. I knew that. She lived in Francisville or Monon, one of the two.
Any other females?
Not that I wouldn't know of.
Okay, any other girls with you?
No, just Ashley.
Okay, yeah, we're just getting some information that there was another female with you. So,
I didn't have anybody else with me. How things with me and Ashley have been going pretty good. Like a month ago, me and her got into a huge fight and I ended up sleeping around on her and she fucking really hurt her feelings.
Who else was involved? You say you slept around. I know you don't really, probably don't want to get into it, but who was the other girl involved?
Talitha Beckley.
Anyone else?
That's it.
who's this girl? Who's that girl?
Nicole. She used to date my buddy Caleb Belford. I've used to hang out with her. I haven't seen her for a couple of weeks. So we got arrested in Lafayette together like a month and a half ago. And I was trying to get her, take her to rehab and stuff because she's a heroin addict. And she's a really sweet girl. She's trying to get her kids back and everything.
Okay. And who did she say she was?
Caleb Belford.
Last name again?
Alford, A-L-F-O-R-D.
Okay, so when was the last time you seen Nicole?
I saw Nicole was at her friend Terry's house. This has been like 2 weeks ago. She bounces around, and when she gets dope sick, you never know where she's at. She won't ever answer the phone. I tried to get a hold of her for a few days, and I ended up going to my good friend Jason's, and she was there. She stayed at the trailer behind him, and her friend Terry's mother's house.
Town's
In Delphi.
But is that, I'm not real familiar with over there. Is that close to Brookston area?
It's more closer to Monticello, off the highway. Brookston's kind of, what's that? Brookston would be east of where this is from.
Garrett, I need you to be honest with me, brother, okay? We're talking about something that's very serious. And you willing to talk with me from this point forward will make a dramatic impact on the rest of your life. That's how serious.
What's going on here?
So, when was the last time? Let's just stick with being truthful, okay? And then after that, we can deal with anything else, but you gotta be truthful. And I know you're not being truthful about the last time you've seen Nicole.
I guess what makes me nervous is that when I came up here, Nicole was with Chris. And when I come back up here to drop the car off that I was told to bring back up here, because she sold that car a couple weeks ago, or she didn't sell the car, she got some dope for the car, and she gave him a title. And
Who's he?
he goes by the name of King. I don't know what his last name is. He's a guy from I'm not trying to sound right, he's a nigger from Lafayette. And by nigger, I mean, he sells heroin, which, heroin fucking, any drugs kill people, but heroin, I don't know, I guess it's a whole different type of level, when people, what it does to people, what people will do for it, I guess. But when she was up here with me, and the reason I'm not trying to lie to you about bullshit you, but it's fucking, I don't know what the fuck's going on. They just showed me her mugshot. That kind of scared me. Did something happen to her?
Yes, but at the same time, I'm waiting for you to start being truthful first.
When she was up here with me, we were at the trailer park, and she rode up with me and Ashley, and I dated her for a little bit, and I mean, I love the girl. She's a fucking sweetheart, but I can't be around that heroin. And Ashley's no better. She's a meth addict. I guess, I don't know, I got a big heart and I try to help people, but when she came up here, I left, went and got cigarettes, came back, and she said that she was going with Chris. When I woke up that one morning, when I went to bed, she was still there. When I woke up, her and Chris were gone. And when I went to see Chris, I was like, where'd Nicole go? And he said that she had somebody come pick her up because she wanted to get high. And I don't want to get anybody in trouble or anything, but if, if something did happen to her, I don't want to withhold any information. I mean, I'm trying to wrap my head around this whole situation.
But this is the thing. We've been working a case with Nicole, okay, for the last few days. Everybody from the local to the federal level. Okay? You're sitting here for a reason.
I don't know why I'm sitting here.
Because you're right in the center of it.
How?
You're right in the center of it. You were last seen with Nicole.
Yeah, I was last seen with Nicole, but I wouldn't know. What happened to her?
Listen, I'm asking you. I think you're a good guy, okay? And for real, look at me. I think you're a good guy. And I think she is a sweetheart. A lot of people say she is. But I think maybe emotions got the best of, and they get the best of all of us, right? Sometimes. You know what I mean? Right? So, and like Detective Rose said, I mean, what happens right now can drastically change the rest of your life, okay? It can help you, or it can go the other way. I mean, if your emotions got the best of you, I mean, we can't change that now. All we can do is tell the truth, right? I mean, she's a sweetheart. She got kids, right?
Yeah, she has.
She's someone's mother.
She has. I know she has Corbin, and she has another son. She has a daughter too.
So she's someone's mom. I mean, if something happened to your mom, would you want someone to be truthful?
Yeah, I would, but
Yeah.
I didn't hurt her.
Nicole was hurt. Okay.
That's what I'm gathering from this.
Just come clean.
I had nothing.
What? The Scion. Tell me about Scion. The car that you were just taking in.
That's Nicole's car. When we went to Lafayette a few weeks ago, she got a bag of dope from this guy named King.
Mm-hmm.
When she got the front, she gave him the title of her car. And when Chris said that she had somebody come pick her up, to my knowledge, that's who I thought would have came to pick her up. So I went home. And I was talking to King over the few days that I was talking to him. He said that he sent Nicole to rehab.
The drug dealer sent his customer to rehab.
That's what I thought too. However, apparently, according to somebody, this guy, King, and this girl named Sheena from Monticello, King's from Lafayette, Sheena Cottrell's from Monticello, said that Nicole and Sheena and King, this came from King's mouth, that they had something to do with or no information about the two girls in Delphi that got killed, and that somebody said something or they were at risk of getting in trouble, which I don't understand why you would withhold that type of information about those two little girls getting killed, because that killed the whole town of Delphi. I remember when it happened. I woke up that morning and I looked on the news and I'm, Garrett, we need to go to the church. And I was like, why? And I was like, because those little girls, their mom has passed away. Their mom has passed away, but I think it was her aunt that raised them. And my mom used to work with her dad or her uncle out at Indianapolis with them. So we went to the church and a few of the family members were there and we prayed with them and shit. I mean, it was just, it's what is that word? What we're willing to see what it's like a community when they pull together to like, I guess, give the other people shoulder to cry on.
And I understand, and that was
a tragic event down there. That's gonna take a long time for the town to get over. In terms of the Scion, why do you have it?
I have the car because I came up here, she left. So to my knowledge, she's back to Lafayette. I've been trying to get a hold of her. Her number is it's on. If you put text now on that thing, I could log into mine and give it to you. But I'm not sure what it is right off head. But it's under Chloe. It's CHLOE Higgs, and it's a 27 or a 28 number. I can't remember what. I think it's a 27, but it's 765 area.
So where's your phone at?
My phone is in the car.
What about your other phone that you would use the text now app at?
My girlfriend has it.
So we can maybe find out that way.
Why did you get a new phone?
I got that because my phone is it's a Boost mobile phone, but it used to be my mom's, and she reported hers lost. So the SIM card on it, if you put a SIM card in it, it'll lock it out. And I bought that phone yesterday, so I had a phone.
So why again did you get a new phone?
My old phone, I have a Samsung Galaxy. It's like the one I have. My mom reported it lost. Or it's when you report it, it's reported lost or stolen. So when you stick a SIM card in it, it'll lock it.
Why didn't you just read?
So it don't work.
You can't do it like that. I don't have my mom's information.
So it don't work.
No, it doesn't work. It works off
So
Wi-Fi.
why does your girlfriend have it?
It works off internet, like Messenger and the text now app. But you can't put a SIM card in it and it can have service.
What was the carrier, like Verizon, Sprint, AT&T, do you remember?
Boost.
Boost.
Okay, so again, you still never really told me why you have the car. She gave the title to King. Why?
She gave the title. She gave him the title. She still had the book and everything. It's still in my glove box. I haven't touched it, but when I took the car because Chris is like, oh, well, she got a ride with somebody, and the one place she was living at was Lafayette, where she was living on 600 at my friend Russell's house. I'm not sure the right.
Do you like a drink?
I had to chew in when I got pulled out of the car. I spit it out. I got a drink downstairs, and I'll be all right. But the reason I had the car is because when he said she got a ride, I thought the only place she got went was Lafayette, so I went look for her. I mean, Ashley looked for her for a couple of days. I haven't been able to get a hold of her. I've been trying to blow her phone up the whole time. I cannot get a hold of her. I mean, he said, get the car and take it up there and exchange it. I'm like, what? Why am I doing this? He's like, just listen to me. And when you guys pull in, my precise wall in a minute. I'm not primarily into a few select people from here. And I'm getting myself into a situation. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
So King, the dealer, sent you up here then?
Yeah.
And who's King talking with?
Talking with me.
Who are you talking with to swap the car with?
Mike?
What?
I'm not sure what the last name is. It starts with an H.
How long do you know that guy?
I met him when I came up here with Chris, but it was like, hey, hello, how you doing type thing. He goes to Pontiac, and we were talking about he said he buys and sells cars when I was up here, and I talked to a couple people that I know, like my dad, he buys and sells equipment and shit. So I gave him my dad's number, and I called him and gave him my number today, and then my buddy's like, oh, well, call him and see if you can get rid of this car. And I called him and I was like, hey, but the whole time I'm thinking is this sign's not in my name, and I don't know what the fuck's going on. And King had signed the title, but I don't have the title in the car.
So how are you gonna swap it?
Mike was just gonna swap it and give me another vehicle.
Without the title?
As far as I know.
Do you think that's on the up and up?
Not really, but I mean, I don't really like talking to that King guy because, I mean, shit kind of scares me. Drug dealers kind of scare me.
And where's he live? Where's King live?
In the apartment complex. I'm not sure which apartment, but on Levy in Lafayette, there's an apartment complex behind the liquor store. You have to get there if you come in on 40 Route 3, which is called River Road, you turn left by 9 Irish Brothers. You turn left by 9 Irish Brothers, go down, and then you pass the movie theater on the right, and there'll be a jail record store. Right before the jail record store, you can pull in there, you turn left. There's a one-way coming this way and a one-way coming this way. So you turn on one way that goes into the parking lot. There'll be a B-dubs and stuff. Right when you hit that parking lot, you turn right and follow that trail all the way back. And I know we always used to park, like you go all the way back to the last building. We used to park right when you see the last building, go like this and then pull immediately up this way. And when you're sitting in the parking spot, if you look behind you, you can see two yellow marker things that come out of the ground. And there's the entrance that you have to walk through. There's like 2 dumpsters over by that thing too.
So did you go down there at all today?
No.
So when did you get the car?
When did I get the car? I've had the car. I've had the car since I was up here because I haven't been able to get a hold of her. I've tried getting a hold of her mom through Facebook. I've tried getting a hold of Sam Bowen, who she's from Monticello. I know people that know him, but I don't personally know him myself.
How long have you known Nicole?
I met her in work release in Lafayette. I was there from May until September 1st of 2018. That was the first time I met her. And, we always had, she always looked at me, I always looked at her, and I was trying to stay out of trouble. And the whole time I'm thinking is, because when you're in work release, you're not supposed to talk to the females. The whole time I'm thinking is, I'm going to talking to this girl, and she comes in, I'm going to try talking to her and say, hey, what's up, girl? And then I'm going to get in trouble. So I never really talked to her in work release. And then she dated Caleb Alford, which is my girlfriend's sister's baby daddy. And we were all at Russell's one night. Me and Ashley were, and so was Caleb, and Russell was too. And she came down there, and I knew who she was, but I didn't really say much because I didn't want to piss my girlfriend off. And then we started talking and shit, and she gave me her phone number, and we started talking off and on. And we started messing around and stuff, but she took me home, and when this was like probably a month ago, she took me home, dropped me off back at Ashley's, and I hadn't really talked to her. And then when I went down to Terry's that one day, and I'm gonna stop at Russell's first. She went there. Went down to my buddy Jason's. My guy Terry lives on Jason's property and a trailer behind him. And so we talked for a minute, and Ashley was down at Russell's. I was like, are you okay? Because I know that she was having a real hard time with me because me not talking to her, because she got really attached to me. And I love the girl to death too, but I mean, she's older than I am. I'm a lot younger, and I've been with Ashley for the past 4.5 years, and like I love Nicole. I care about Nicole, but I mean, I love Ashley too. I know that if me and Ashley were ever to break up, I mean, that'd be the hardest thing I've ever had to go through. I mean, we've been through a couple of miscarriages together, the whole 9 yards. So I told Nicole that I was coming up here to hang out with Chris and get a couple of tattoos done, and she was all for it. And then when she seen Ashley, she kind of got, she didn't get upset. She got more like hurt by like seeing me and her, like me hold her hand or whatever in the back seat. And she got over it though when we got there. Like she started loosening up with Chris, and I'm pretty sure they had sex, but I'm not sure because if I wake up in the morning and him and her are gone, and I call him later and he's like, oh yeah, well she left mom's house. I don't know why he would take a random girl to his mom's house if he wasn't hooking up with her.
Okay. All right. Give me a few seconds. I'm gonna get you some water. I want something to drink too.
And I know that Chris's mom, there's a silver 2-door Explorer in the driveway.
That's there, you turn it past Casey's or whatever.
Yeah. Right when you go over the tracks. It's almost to the end of the street.
All right.
I thought would. Oh, I know. Now would be a
This
good time
guy.
to take a breather for a second.
I can't hear you very well.
Now he's saying that Nicole rode up out there to Kentland with him and Ashley. Like none of it happened. The fantastical lies this kid tells is but he's the only one who told the truth.
Amy, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not able to really hear you.
Oh, can
It
you?
is pretty low. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think I had my mic down. Sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Not real. I can't really very well.
What about
No,
now?
Doesn't
it
matter.
was okay before, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's.
Huh. I wonder what's going on then.
I don't. It's whatever the people in chat can hear is what's important.
Okay. Is everyone in chat able to hear me okay?
Travis says he can now.
Okay. I think I had it turned down low and it was sitting away from me.
Okay.
Do we have anybody in chat who has any questions or anything?
Okay, that's good. That's all that really matters. Thanks, Grizzly. Grismet. I'm not really sure how to say your name. Thanks, Grizz. um, uh, I'm just like I said, I'm a big mouth, and I'm always got something to say about stuff. So I just have a lot of comments in there, and Travis has made some comments.
Yeah, I've been.
You can read out.
I think the first. I think when I first watched this video, the first thing just knowing more. I mean, I know way more now than I did months ago, but the timeline and where he's pulling these stories from with Nicole's with Chris, and he went and picked up Chris and then took Chris to his mom's, and then Nicole and Chris left together. And then now he's back at the Palladino compound and Nicole is riding with him and Ashley. I mean, all of these things are like he's creating these scenarios out of nowhere. And it's just it's it's telling.
Yeah, it's well, and I don't know, it's unfair for me, I guess, but well, possibly you as well, but I know what's coming, and so
Right.
it just, it makes it even
gets
more
better. It gets
frustrating.
even better.
Yeah, yeah. And when going into the rest of this interview is it's very interesting, it leaves no doubt that he definitely was the main individual behind this, and it's quite disgusting what he does, especially in the second interview. And so I don't know. I don't want to say too much because I know you've got other things planned, but it's very frustrating to
Well,
listen to him.
it is. It is. And if Cheryl's still in the chat, I just kind of want to give you a heads up that Garrett is about to go into some disturbing details. I just wanted to let you know that before I go back into playing this. So I guess I will go back in.
Okay.
So they let him sit here and stew for a while.
She's stuck on a buffer.
I know I want to fast forward it, but it buffers every single time I do.
Yeah. I put a message to you in the chat. I'm gonna upload all of these into a Google Drive, so you can play them in a Chrome tab, and they'll.
Still hit on water.
I think they'll do better.
Okay. Yeah, these files have been really tricky.
Yeah.
This conversation, who's it between?
I think so, yeah. I ain't positive, but oh, dude, this is 2 miles northwest of fucking Kellen. I just read it again, and that's like fucking right down the road. Like right down the road, has to be. I figured you were lost or something. Here. Hey, no, go ahead. Should I?
That's why Chris is down south.
Did we not come in here? Did I not come in here and sit here and say, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt? We already know answers.
I don't know if my life's on the line too. That's what
You need to start talking, because the rest of this video, the audio recording, is you with the body.
I didn't have no body. No, that's
Let's play it.
the body.
Use the interior of that car. If it was done in the car, I won't use the interior. I'll just use the rest of the shit, you know?
I see. I know what was going on. I was not.
You want to keep listening, because it gets very detailed.
I know.
Then start talking before you play again.
When we got there that night,
What night?
when we first got there,
What night?
what day was that? Does it have messenger on it so I can look so I can be exactly sure?
No. I know answers. I'm still gauging how truthful you're going to be. The next time I catch you in a lie, you can tell the jury that I'll tell them you had no remorse. I gave you chance after chance after chance to say I messed up. I cared for her, and that's why she wasn't thrown somewhere else, because I wanted her to be found. But if you're going to keep playing this game, just be truthful.
Can I say what I'm going to say?
Amy?
You tell me if you think that I'm lying or
Oh,
not.
sorry.
Yes.
I just need you to be truthful.
I am.
Are you remorseful?
I am. That's what
Are you
I didn't commit this myself.
Okay, are you remorseful?
Yes,
Are
I'm
you sorry?
remorseful. Yes.
Okay, then start being truthful. That's it.
Okay, what's going on?
Sorry. Sorry, Travis said to pause and try to explain a little bit what's going on there, because when it was buffering, we kind of lost some of what's actually happening.
Okay. I didn't realize it. Okay, it didn't buffer on my end. My apologies. I can back it up a little bit. Basically, Detective Rowe came in with his phone, with his own phone, and began playing an audio recording. And the audio recording was from when an individual by the name of Mikey Hiddle went to police to give them information that he pretty much thought that Garrett had killed Nicole. And with Mikey Hiddle's help, they get Mikey Hiddle to contact Garrett on Facebook. And Mikey Hiddle does repair and sell cars for a living. So he basically told Garrett he would be willing to buy the Scion from him and to meet him at a specific location. And in this phone call, Garrett starts telling Mikey Hiddle what he did. So that's what Detective Rowe is confronting him with now, is this recorded phone call.
That's it. Don't worry if I think you're a liar or not. Just be truthful, because that's only going to help you.
What I was going to say was, I didn't I didn't kill her myself.
Tell me what happened.
When we were getting our, and what I meant by that is like, I didn't fucking, it wasn't my call, it wasn't my hands doing the fucking, we got up there and you were supposed to do the tattoos and shit. Jasmine, I was sitting on the couch with Nicole, and Chris was there, Ashley was there, a woman by the name of Talitha was there, and that's like my second mom. That's the reason why I didn't bring her name up, because this isn't her. She had nothing to do with any of it.
Talitha?
Yeah, she had nothing to do with any of it.
White girl?
She's white.
Okay.
I know that's a lot of people say
Keep
it.
going.
Ashley and Nicole started yelling at each other, and I grabbed Ashley to get her. When I grabbed Ashley, it was because I didn't want them to get into a fight. I care about both of them. When I grabbed Ashley and I pulled her back, Chris put her in a chokehold. And when he put her in a chokehold, I didn't know what to do.
Nicole was in a chokehold.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do. And at that point, my first thought is, what the fuck is going on? Why is this happening? And three is not just why is it happening, but why does this have to be this way? Well, because they started yelling at each other. Chris had dope on him. Jasmine's got a warrant. And when he did that, I mean, I grabbed Ashley and I hugged her as close as I could, and I pulled her and I had my eyes closed. And when I heard her go, "Ugh," and when it was, I opened my eyes and she was on the floor. And I think it was a tie or a bandana. He was tying around her neck.
Who's he?
Chris.
This is at Lot 20, Jasmine's house.
Am I in any trouble? I'll keep going. I will keep going.
I want you to keep going, because this is the thing. If you're saying your hands weren't around her that did it, then I would hope that you want to give your side, because if not, you're there. Does that make sense? I'm not an attorney, but I'm telling you, the truth goes a lot further than if you lie and we discover that you're lying.
Can I ask you this? Will you guys give me the opportunity to work with you to find out where Chris is?
Let's get through the story first.
Okay.
So, and then we'll go to plan B and plan C. So Chris is there. You're saying a scarf. What did the scarf look like?
It was like a cheap print, almost. It was like a silk material. Before, because she was like, "Oh, that's real nice. Where'd you get that at?" And Jasmine said that her kids got it for her.
Okay.
And when I let go ask, I opened my eyes because I didn't want to see what the fuck was going on. For all I knew, I was next.
So you're saying he just grabbed her?
He had syringes. He had dope on him, and I use it every once in a while, but.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Cherie, Rhonda?
Yes, sorry, yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
I'm just going to take the opportunity really quick because of, the reason we're covering this case. I want to rewind right here what he just said, because I think it's very important down the road, what he just describes about this scarf.
Yeah, yeah.
I know.
Then start talking before you play again.
When we got there that night.
What night?
When we first got there.
What night?
My hands doing the fucking, we got up there and you were supposed to do the tattoos and shit. Jasmine, I was sitting on the couch with Nicole, and Chris was there, Ashley was there, a woman by the name of Talitha was there, and that's like my second mom. That's the reason why I didn't bring her name up, because this isn't her. She had nothing to do with any of it.
Talitha?
Yeah, she had nothing to do with any of it.
White girl?
She's white.
Okay.
I know that's a lot of people say
Keep
it.
going.
Ashley and Nicole started yelling at each other, and I grabbed Ashley to get her. When I grabbed Ashley, it was because I didn't want them to get into a fight. I care about both of them. When I grabbed Ashley and I pulled her back, Chris put her in a chokehold. And when he put her in a chokehold, I didn't know what to do.
Nicole was in a chokehold.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do. And at that point, my first thought is, what the fuck is going on? Why is this happening? And three is not just why is it happening, but why does this have to be this way? Well, because they started yelling at each other. Chris had dope on him. Jasmine's got a warrant. And when he did that, I mean, I grabbed Ashley and I hugged her as close as I could, and I pulled her and I had my eyes closed. And when I heard her go, "Ugh," and when it was, I opened my eyes, and she was on the floor. And I think it was a tie or a bandana he was tying around her neck.
Who's he?
Chris.
This is at lot 20, Jasmine's house.
Am I in any trouble? I'll keep going. I will keep going.
I want you to keep going because this is the thing. If you're saying your hands weren't around her that did it, then I would hope that you want to give your side. Because if not, you're there. Does that make sense? I'm not an attorney, but I'm telling you, the truth goes a lot further than if you lie and we discover that you're lying.
Can I ask you this? Will you guys give me the opportunity to work with you to find out where Chris is?
Let's get through the story first.
Okay.
So, and then we'll go to plan B and plan C. So, Chris is there. You're saying a scarf. What did the scarf look like?
It was like a cheetah print, almost. It was like a silk material.
Okay. Where'd that scarf come from?
It was on the lamp. I remember because Ashley asked Jasmine about it a couple hours before because she was like, "Oh, that's real nice. Where'd you get that at?" And Jasmine said that her kids got it for her.
Okay.
And when I let go of Ashley, I opened my eyes because I didn't want to see what the fuck was going on. For all I knew, I was next.
So you're saying he just grabbed her?
He had syringes. He had dope on him, and I use it every once in a while, but I haven't for a few days. There's a pipe in the car, and
don't worry about that. I get it. Drug use goes in and out of the house. Okay. But he grabs her literally like this.
He grabbed her like this.
Okay. What? To separate them?
I think that's what his intention was. That was what my intention was because I grabbed Ashley. I mean, that's from Ashley's fingernail right there.
Okay.
When I grabbed her, so was that bruise. When I grabbed Ashley, she was trying to get away from me, and I had her. When I grabbed Ashley, I had her underneath her arms, and she put her hands up like this. I'm like, "Babe, stop!" Because I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want anybody to fight. And not to mention, I don't want the cops coming there because I don't want to get busted with dope. Whether if it's somebody else's pocket, that's all of us going in trouble.
I get it.
When he grabbed Nicole, at first it looked like he was trying to put her in a full Nelson, like put her arms behind his head. But when he grabbed her, he went like this, and he just started wrapping up, and I closed my eyes. And the next thing I know, she was gone.
So what's that mean? She was still standing. She was on the ground.
She was on the floor. She was on the floor behind the. Okay, can I stand up?
Yeah.
If you're standing in the kitchen when you go in the doorway, there's island right here. There's a love seat kind of right here, and then there's a full on a couch right here in front of you. It happened over here behind the love seat. And when they went from the counter, I missed this, but they went from the counter, and I don't really know if she tried to put a fight on us. I heard like kind of a struggle, and they fell on a tote in the living room behind the couch. And when I opened up my eyes, he was tying that scarf around her neck, and I was trying to clean out my car, and I had all this, like, I do a bunch of work, like side work and shit, and I had like 2 new rolls of like red double-sided tape for my taillight. It was on Nicole's car because when I was dating Nicole, she got rear-ended, and that's why the bumper was already fucked up, but the taillight was busted. And I put double-sided tape on my taillight, and it's red tape. And it was in the trailer, like not inside the house, but in the back of it when you first walk in the door. Because when you open up, there's a wooden door here. It looks like it's going to open. If you go there, there's a window that's like broke out on the bottom, and there's a screen that kind of floats in the air. You have to crawl, like go under through that way. The front door of the house it looks like if you pull in, it looks like nobody lives there because she has a warrant and shit. The front door is padlocked from the outside. You have to go through the back door. When you go underneath that one thing, when you crawl underneath that and you step in, You gotta go to this way to get to the door of the trailer.
Okay, so take me from where she was laying by the sofa or the love seat, and he was putting a scarf around her neck. What was the point in that? Was she still alive?
I think so. She was unconscious. I don't know. I don't know if she was breathing or not.
Was she making noise?
No.
Okay, so you don't know, but she wasn't making noise.
I don't see when. I don't know. I've seen movies and stuff. I don't know if somebody's unconscious if they're still breathing. If they go, because I don't know. I don't know if her throat was.
So you heard her do that?
Yeah, I heard her do that when he was still choking.
Okay,
so when he took the scarf, she didn't make any noise. When he tied that scarf, she made no noise at all.
Okay, take me from there.
He got a blanket from outside of the trailer, like in the back part.
Where at?
Where you go in at. There's a bunch of old clothes and boxes and shit.
Literally within that like little porch thing of the trailer, not off property.
No,
it's within the trailer.
It's within the trailer. When you go through that window, there's shit everywhere. Fucking shoe boxes, broken plastic. Mm-hmm. He went outside there, grabbed a blanket, and he rolled her up in it.
What color?
Gray.
Okay.
When he rolled her up in that blanket, and he rolled her up, and then me and Ashley went in the bedroom and sat down, and I hear plastic crackling and it's almost like duct tape being pulled, and then he yelled and he said, "Where's the keys?" I said, "To what?" And he said, "Never mind, because the keys are on the counter to her car." And he left. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I don't know if he was coming back or not. And when he came back, I got all my clothes except for Ashley's backpack still at the trailer. It's got my grandma's engagement ring that she gave me to give to her that passed away. My grandma just passed away like 2 months ago. I went inside to grab all the clothes and stuff and put them in the car. And I took Chris back to his mom's and I got the fuck out of here. And I should have told you guys, I should have called and I should have said something.
Okay. So who helped him roll her up and wrap her up and tape her up?
Jasmine, to my knowledge, I was not putting my hands on that whatsoever.
Did you see him wrap anything else around her neck?
No.
Nothing.
Other than the scarf.
Okay. And so did your car leave or did you take him?
My car left. He left.
The Scion.
Nicole's car left. I did not go with him.
The Scion.
The Scion.
And what time of night was this?
Probably 1, 2, 2:30.
In the morning?
Yeah. It was still dark.
On what night?
See, that's
I don't want to get off topic.
No, I'm not going to get off topic, but when I was there, I was high. So it's kind of hard for me to dictate or determine what day.
If you don't know 100%, then let's skip that.
That's the truth.
What time did you return?
He came back, like, it was almost daylight. I mean, people were getting up to go and leaving for work. It wasn't necessarily daylight yet, but you could, people in the trailer park were being active. It was still dark, starting their cars, getting ready for work.
So you're saying he's the only one that left?
Yes.
No one else in that car?
Do we play this recording again?
Recording?
No, just this is what we want you to listen to.
I know, I said that, but I know I was not in that vehicle.
Who's the conversation between?
That's between me and Mike.
Okay. I just want you to listen.
And I said we got lost.
Just listen.
I know, I did not say that.
Listen.
Right.
Waiting until I. What?
When I said that, because when he said, when Mike asked me, when we were on the phone, he said, was Mathis involved? I said no. Because I don't know if he's, like, if I say this, and say if I go to, like, if we went to the witness stand and I said I had nothing to do with it and it was all him, which is the truth. If I say that, I don't know what kind of people he knows. I've known Chris for a couple of years. But I talked to him today and it was an 891 number that called my phone. It's in my call history.
Today?
Yes, he said.
We'll get to that. Let's finish this.
Yeah. Right. That's what's up. Fucking traffic. Keep going, motherfucker. I watched my ass. There was no.
I wash my ass. I don't want anyone else with me. When I do that type of shit, I won't be by myself.
I knew that's what came out of my mouth, but that was bullshit because I don't, Mike.
So you're admitting to doing something that
No,
you didn't do?
I'm not admitting to doing something I didn't do. I'm trying to fucking cover my ass and make it look like it was just me because I'm for real. This is the God's honest truth. If you check the back of that car, there was no.
You were trying to put this shit on you because you're afraid of some old doper? And you were putting it on you?
He's affiliated with some kind of fucking, I've had my mom's life threatened several times.
You throw it on him to keep it off of you, I understand, but you take responsibility for something he did?
I wouldn't throw anything. If I did that, I would admit to it. Because my dad always taught me.
Right there.
I didn't do that though. What I'm saying, I didn't.
You just said you had someone with Joe. You know?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You were mentioning Chris, and then you said, I did it alone. Just listen.
Make sure things are. Yeah. Right. That's what's up. Fuck the traffic. Keep going.
I watch my ass. There ain't nothing there. I'm a lone wolf. So I don't fucking have anybody with me to do that shit. I want to make sure everything's fucking everything gets done, and there ain't no fucking way.
Well, you just said you had someone with Joe. You know?
Yeah, that's one of my dirty brothers. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we moved the same. I mean, I wouldn't take anybody. I'm not saying I wouldn't take anybody in my sidekick.
Right. Right. Yeah, I don't understand that. It's so close, I didn't understand it whatsoever. I think that's fucking just dumb. I was asking for it. I don't know where the fuck I'm at. Exactly what I figured. You know, I didn't think you knew that. It was dark, but
I understand. I know.
I took backwards over there.
Okay, I'm gonna give you one last chance, man. Everything is I took back roads. I went by an excavator. That was right there by the road. Because we looked at that.
If you weren't there, you wouldn't know that detail.
You were there. This is the thing. It's either you were sorry it happened. I understand if Nicole and your girlfriend got into an argument or got something because it was out of passion. She upset somebody. But at the same time, the person that put her body in there had enough respect for her, they wanted her found. And they put her inside the container. You need to be truthful because it's there. And we're going to just keep working it from this point and find every piece of evidence against you. Just be truthful, and the prosecutor understands that. The family will get some closure, that it was a mistake. If you guys were high, I get it. But to say, I did all these details that only us and the person there knows.
Everybody that was there that night was high. I didn't touch. It was me and Chris in the vehicle. If I'm on my messenger, I can show you voice messages in the same that your name and whatever is on it.
You just need to be truthful. I've already given you the evidence. You know what I'm saying? And you're not saying anything until I present it. So you need to start being truthful.
Hear me out. We pulled out of the trailer park that night, and Chris was driving, and we went driving. And when you said that you wanted her body to be found, I did want her body to be found.
I said you wanted your body to be found. I know.
Chris is like, man, he's like, where can I put her without anybody finding her? He's like, I don't want my finger. He goes, I don't want my fingerprints to be found or nothing like that. And I said, I don't know, I'm not from here. And the only thing I can think of is I'm trying to make it sound. And I said, when I turned my right, I seen that fucking weeds with that trailer, and I seen that eel thing over there. And I said, if he doesn't see that thing, there's this right here.
You saw what thing?
That excavator thing.
Okay.
Obviously, the excavator's right there. This road's being used. So that means somebody is going to come over here.
So you're wanting her to be found.
So when he drug her from the car to the thing, he had me watch. And I can remember when he grabbed her out of the car and took her to that thing. I'm standing on the passenger side door when I'm looking, and the whole time I can see a highway or a roadway going this way to my left, and I can see headlights, and I can hear cars in the distance. I can't tell how far away they are. I can't tell where they are, but I can see. I can tell where they are, but I can't tell where they are. Like if they're going north, south, east, or west. So the whole time I'm thinking, okay, she's gonna be found. She's gonna be found. And that's the truth.
So who drove
Chris drove.
and where were you at?
I was in the passenger seat.
Front?
Yes,
Where was the body at?
in the trunk.
Where did the plastic bags and tape and everything come from?
Chris pulled them out from. Because when me and Nicole Ashley's middle name is Nicole. When me and Ashley went to the bedroom, I heard plastic. The only thing I can remember trash bags being with Jasmine said, "You made like earlier." She said, "I need a trash bag." So Chris had went underneath the kitchen sink and grabbed her a trash bag because she was sweeping up the kitchen floor. That trailer was disgusting.
So everything should have came from within the trailer.
Yes.
Did you have anything in your car that he used?
See, I haven't had that car the whole time. When I got the car today, I got all my clothes and everything.
Was there anything in the car that
I want to say that everything's out of there, but there's a couple trash bags, but the duffel bag is mine and Ashley's clothes.
when you wrapped the body up? Did you guys grab anything out of your car to wrap the body up with?
He wrapped the body up at the trailer.
Okay. Was anything taken out of the car to wrap the body up?
I'm aware.
Okay. Did you and him carry Nicole out?
No.
Who
He
carried
drug her with a
No, from the trailer to the car.
he drug her with a belt by her neck to the car.
Like a jean belt.
It was like a combat looking, like almost like not the ones that you guys wear with like the snap on them,
Yeah.
but it's got like 3 holes or 4 holes and 2 things on each one. And it was like that. And he drug her to the car.
Like a female's belt.
No, it was like it was a men's belt, but it was a thick, real thick, like real, what's that polyester material?
What color?
Blue, I think.
Okay. So how did he take her out of the trailer?
He drug her down the doorway to the steps, and there's a little, like a, what's that, I think it's a Costco chair. And you guys probably remember them. I was a kid when they first came out. I remember my mom used to have one like that. It's a seat, like where the legs are. There's a thing that pulls out, and it's got 2 steps on it.
Okay.
He stepped up on that, and when he did, he pulled her up, and he got her front half in the car first, and he jumped down and he stuffed her back half in the car, and he put her feet down, and he covered her up with a blanket, and covered her up this way with the other half, and he told me to get in the car.
In the trunk. So you're saying he pulled that little step stool out and stood on that.
He stepped on that thing
to put her in the trunk. Okay.
When he got her out, he wrapped that belt around her neck, and kind of hurts to talk about it because he jerked her out of the trunk and let her flop on the ground. So where the car was parked at, there's probably going to be, hair or something.
So where's that belt at?
I don't know.
Okay.
He grabbed it whenever he got done with it, but I don't know. I don't think it's not the car.
You parked on the road. You didn't pull in the field.
He pulled into the field.
How far did you pull in the field?
So so there was like a fence there. Did you pull in by that fence?
Yeah, he pulled in next to the gate, wherever that.
Yeah, there's a lock gate there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, unless Detective Rowe has something, you said you were describing how he put her in the trunk. So you watched him drag her out. I mean, obviously you saw the steps. Did you help him at any point in time? Obviously, it sounds pretty difficult to get in that add-on part of the house. Did you?
Well, that door opens.
Okay.
That door opens. It's just got a lock from the inside. It's got a little latch on it. It's not screwed shut or anything.
So you can't open it from the outside.
But you can open it. Yeah, it's just like the door. It looks like it's padlocked, but you can still open it from the inside.
What did Chris have to say today when you talked to him?
When I talked to Chris today, he said, "Where are you at?" And I said, "I was in Delphi." And he said that Detective Rowe, which I assume is you, there's no other Detective Rowe. He said that you were, and I don't know what your name, I can't remember what your name is.
Wilson.
Wilson? Yep. He said that Detective Rowe and some other guy, which I don't think that's the name he told me, was on the, what's that? It was under investigation by you and somebody else, and there's no suspects yet. And he was down by Crawfordsville, and I needed to go pick him up, and we needed to leave town. But he said that when I called him on the phone, but there's voice messages of him saying that you were on the case and that we needed to get the fuck out of here.
I'm pulling up an aerial view of it so you can show me exactly where you guys stopped and pulled in and stuff like that. Okay.
Is there any possibility I could smoke a cigarette?
In a few, yes, in a few.
Can I call my mom?
Not yet. Not yet.
At some point in time, not right now.
If you again are really trying to do the right thing, then let us get that right stuff out first, okay? Let us get what we need to get done first. And
I know that I didn't do it and I wasn't an accessory to it or whatever. I mean, but I feel like it's my fault, but because if I wouldn't have took her up there that night with me and Ashley trying to get her out of Lafayette, because I didn't have any intention on getting high that night. I was just trying to have a good time.
Initially asked you, was she with you and Ashley?
No, I should have told you that.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
If we don't know answers to the questions we're asking, then what's the point? Right? Because we're just going to go in a circle.
Yeah.
All freaking day.
I mean,
I use those to gauge how truthful you're going to be, and you were failing bad. A lot of questions I asked you already.
I could see that.
Okay, so, but we're past that. We're past that. I forget it already. So from this point forward, we just need to figure this stuff out. We need to find out where Chris is at. Okay? I don't think you can see too well in this because it's during the summer. Do you know what road you were on? You guys don't?
Honestly, I don't know what road we were on. I got fucking, I'm on my way here in the daylight, I got fucking lost.
Yeah.
Like,
So how did you see that trailer at nighttime? Did he know it was there? He did.
Chris said that he used to hunt out there or something when he was younger, or he knew somebody that used to hunt out there.
Okay.
Okay. So that would be the,
Okay.
that would be the container, okay?
Okay.
So you see.
Right here is where the gate's at, right?
No, it's actually right there. There's an actual road.
That's the actual road?
The gate would be,
That's the path to that cabin in the back. So
yeah, but that's an actual.
Well, see, there's a gate there, right?
yeah, there's a gate there.
He pulled it. It was right next to the.
But this is an entrance right there.
It was right there.
And then there's just open
He
grass.
pulled up like this far.
Okay, so you're thinking he pulled up that entrance there?
Yeah,
Straight in, backed in,
straight in.
okay? Headlights on, headlights off,
He shut everything off.
Before you even pulled in there?
Yeah.
okay? And then you stood, so the car is facing this way, just like you said, okay? Driver, passenger, and you said you stood at the passenger door. So over here. Is that what you did? Right here.
I followed him. No. I followed him near the container. And I watched the road the whole time. But when he was first like looking around, getting the trunk open and stuff, because to get the trunk open, you have to crawl through the back of the car. When he was getting the trunk open and shit, I was watching. And that's the whole reason what made me feel comfortable about her being found, is because I wanted her to be found.
I understand.
She got babies.
I understand that, and she does. She's got at least two that I see. So you have to climb through the back seat to unlock the trunk?
No, I don't have to crawl through the back.
Somebody.
Chris crawled through the back of the, because the trunk's got a little latch on it, and
So apparently it don't work from inside the car.
no, it doesn't have one from inside the car.
So did you help him carry the body from there to the container?
Yes,
I know you did. Because you want to make sure she was in there and you guys laid her down on the floor.
yes. And
Dude, I can't, if I keep catching you in lies,
this is the
man.
last time I'm gonna lie to you. I just want to know that you know, I don't know, I just want to know my mom's going to be able to see her son again.
You would keep doing this? Never. I'm not lying to you. I'm not trying to trick you, dude. I'm just asking you to be truthful.
When I helped him carry her in there, well, I put her in the container as closest to not being as far back as she could be as possible. And when I set her down, or we set her down, I tried to set her down as gently as possible in the most comfortable way that I could.
Did you carry the head or the feet?
I carried the head.
And which way? Where was the head and feet in the container?
I want to say,
This is the container at the back door where you came in?
yeah,
We know how she was positioned.
when our head would have been facing the back.
You would have went head first.
So you walked in that container backwards.
Yes.
Say anything to her when you laid her down?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I'm just asking.
I know that when I got to the car and we got in, I said a silent prayer to myself, and I said, God forgive me. And every time I've attempted to try to sleep since then, I've said a prayer that she was, okay.
So what was your feeling when you seen the press release that she was found?
Relief.
Did you feel some closure?
I felt some closure, but I also felt some, closure, but then again, I felt guilty, because if I would have never brought her up here to have a good time, and the intention to come up here was just getting tattoos done there, but I was going to hang out and chill, and that fucking shit happened.
I want to get a picture of Chris, so you can tell me that's who Chris is, or it could be 12 Chris.
He's got 3 or 4 Facebooks, but I have the one on my phone that it's not the one that was Chris Shanning or Shanning Mathis. It's not that one. It's another one every other fucking day. So I'm having a hard time to remember what his first name is, but the last one's Mathis. And he said, when he sent me that voice message a day, he said, let's just stay off of Facebook. So he was sending voice messages and shit, but your name came up, and then he said, I sent him my phone number and told him to call me. And when he called me, he said, save this number. I never did, but it was an 891 number. And he said he was down by Whitestown, Lebanon, and Crawfordsville, which is actually all the same area. They're only like 12 miles from each other.
And what connections does he have down there?
I don't know. I think just a girl he's staying with or something. But he said that his mom was actually the voice message or whatever it said in that. He said, my mom will give me all the information and all the sources we need to get the fuck out of here.
You mean his mom, the one that probably lives in Kentland?
Yeah, I think. See, I don't even know if that's his mom. I've never met her. He just says it's his mother's house.
What's he look like?
Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Red hair, short, chin straps, or either a beard, and he's kind of dresses like.
You got pre-sims on you? You got pre-sims on your phone?
I do not.
And he dresses like a weird, like gangster. I mean, when I dress with either tennis shoes on, I try to have my pants up as high as I can.
So after that night, which we really need to dial that in after we get some of these details figured out, or allow you the opportunity to say your side. You left that morning, like, what did everybody else in the trailer do? Like, you guys just literally had a body inside the trailer that some of you guys cared for. See, take her out there. What did everybody do after that?
Jasmine was acting like everything was fine.
Okay.
Like nothing.
What about the other ones?
Talitha that's him.
Yeah.
It upset Talitha, but I mean, she didn't really want to talk about it, and I understand that.
I'm not saying this is him or not. Okay, this ain't like a photo lineup. You named them, so I'm just asking you.
Yep, that's Christopher. That's definitely Christopher.
Is that the one that
Yes.
you're saying killed Nicole? Screenshot that. So how was everybody that morning? I get Jasmine, Dad, who gives a shit, move on. Who else? What did the other one say?
Chris acted like nothing even happened.
Okay.
Ashley she didn't want to talk about it. She didn't want to think about it. So it upset her too, because she knew it upset me.
Okay.
I didn't know whether to cry, scream, kick shit, or just sit down and act like nothing was going on.
Okay. What about that Tati on
Talitha?
Yeah.
She was really upset.
So where did everybody go? You guys, tell me what you did from that point then.
I left. I took Chris to hang on.
I said, don't think about answers, just be truthful.
No, I'm trying to think. When we left, Talitha and Ashley rode with me to go back out to Talitha's to take her back home
Where's Talitha live?
in Delphi. I'm not sure exactly the
Did
exact
you already tell me
address.
that? Did you already give me her last name?
Yeah, Beckley.
What is it?
Beckley.
No, you didn't give me that. Okay. B-E-C-K.
L-E-Y.
Okay.
No, yeah, L-E-Y.
Keep going.
I took her back home. When I dropped her off, her boyfriend, we got into an argument because he thought that I was out fucking her and I wasn't. And he didn't know Ashley was in the car because Ashley had the seat leaned back because she was sleeping. Because I got out of the driver's side and let her out. And when she went over to the house, I heard him screaming and yelling at each other. She came outside. She's like, "You need to go before something stupid happens," talking about her boyfriend. And when he started screaming at me, what have you, he's like, "You even out fucking T," which that's T's nickname, until that's her nickname. And I said, "No, it ain't even like that, man." And when I said that, he was all pissed off. He had a gun in his hand. He shot at the ground with a pistol. So I got in Nicole's car with that, and me and Ashley got the hell out of there. So after we got out of there, I went and I seen my mom. I met with my mom. We got a little bit of food, got some gas. And then from my mom's, we went to my friend Jeff's house. And we just got away for a couple of days. Didn't talk about nothing, didn't think about what had happened. We just, I was trying to spend as much time with her as I could. And, cherish the time I had with her because I didn't know if anybody knew anything. I didn't know if whatever.
You knew this day was probably going to come.
And when she had looked on the phone and she seen that, I said, "Babe, I gotta go." She's like, "Why?" I said, I have to go. I didn't really have enough time today whenever this happened because I brought the car up here, and that when I said that somebody told me to bring the car up here, I mean, they kind of did because the title's not in the glove box like that, but that part was true.
Okay.
And when I called Mike, I was seeing my grandma's grave because I was late to my grandma's funeral whenever she died, which is like almost 2 weeks ago.
And I understand, I'm sorry to hear that, but you left that next morning, so I kind of got how everybody felt.
Yeah.
And then you went down there, you just made some quick stops because you kind of thought that the day might come.
Well, it's not that I was scared that somebody was going to be on my trail. It's just I wanted to get there and I wanted to relax. And it's not that I just wanted to forget about it, but I wanted to.
Okay, so what day were you down there then to help ID on what day that you guys did this?
Did what? Went to my friend's house?
Jasmine's and everything with Nicole. Because you said you went away for a couple of days. Okay, so we discovered her on Saturday.
Okay, it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't give an exact date because we were high. And but if I look on my Facebook, I can probably find look and see what day we were there and what have you.
Okay, well, I know it wasn't Tuesday.
It had to have been Wednesday. Because we were up here for was up here for a day or two.
So you're believing Wednesday night. And what time again?
When we got back up here, it was like,
No, what time did you take Nicole out there and put her in the container?
oh, that was like, fuck, like 2:30 or 3, something like that.
Okay. And then that next morning you left, and that's when you were hanging up. When did you see the press release on Saturday?
Yes, yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, today's Monday, so I mean, today or Saturday. Okay. Sit tight. I'm gonna take a break, okay? But we need to keep talking to find out maybe where Chris is at and stuff like that.
I hope you guys anyway.
Well, that's all you got right now. Right now, I mean, you really need our help. I already had what I needed. I was just giving you the opportunity to help yourself. So yeah, you really need our help. So it would only be in your best interest just to be truthful. That's it. I don't want nothing made up. Whether to help or hurt you, nothing. I just want the truth. Let's take a break and then I'll come back in, okay?
What I was gonna say was, I think I know who has the title right now, other than, I don't think King has it anymore. What if I could get,
I'm not really worried about the title to the car. I mean, honestly. Does that make sense?
yeah, I was just, because I don't think that that he just did that for no reason. Because he knows a few people about where I am, but Talitha's boyfriend was talking about, he's like, well, Chris told me what happened when I dropped her off, and I don't know how in the hell he could have known that. So I don't know if, if that was like a premeditated type of thing, because Nicole knows Terry, which Terry lives behind Jason, which is where Nicole was staying for a couple of days. When I said I went to Terry's and Russell's, they're going to kind of see her or whatever. Nicole lost her keys one night, and I helped her look for them all like 4 hours, through the yard, everywhere. When we came back off the porch, they were laying right next to her fucking car. And over the events of her looking for her keys, Jason was trying to tell her to get the fuck off the property, and she's like, well, I can't unless I find my keys. And she's like, well, I'll just call the police. And Jason's exact words were, I don't think that'd be a good fucking idea. And I don't know if she called the cops or not, but I know that she did find her keys.
Okay. So you're just saying that Chris needs to explain whether it was premeditated, because apparently either he was running his mouth, kind of bragging, or he had an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? But you're still saying he did it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, give us a break, okay? Drink some water. We'll be back in.
Well,
Oh,
I think we can end it right there for
despise.
tonight.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's just one lie after the other, after the other, after the other. And
But
every time he gets caught in a lie, I guess he thinks that that's all the truth they know. And so he continues to lie. And it's just mind boggling.
right. But do you notice how, like, there at the end, like, he throws out the situation with the car keys, which his version of that is not the truth. That's not the truth that Talitha tells. And how he sets up Chris for this premeditated thing with Jason. And I do know that when all of the phone records and stuff come out, you're going to find out that Garrett was in contact with Jason this whole entire night.
Oh, gosh, it's just
He's hard to watch. He really is.
he is very difficult to watch. Like it's so cringe that it's just. And once you listen to the other, like he said, Jasmine just was like, oh, nothing bothered her. It didn't seem like it was no big deal to her. Well, I didn't get that from watching her interview, and
Right.
I didn't get, I certainly didn't get that from watching Ashley's interview. That she was just, he made it sound like she was like blasé about it, and I just didn't get that from watching her interview. And Talitha, I mean, I don't know,
when we go over the rest of this timeline for the rest of this week, that whole entire day, nothing that he has said in this interview right now is anywhere near the truth. What he actually did that day and who he was with and what they were doing.
right.
And so that hasn't even been touched upon. And with the interviews that we have, I don't think it ever really is. Talitha gives the closest rendition of it, but even her version is, twisting. And with all of that we'll get to all of her stuff later. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I'm jumping the gun.
No, that's okay.
He
Like
is-
it's hard not to, because you gotta try to make it all make sense. And you do get the distinct impression from Jasmine that she's more afraid of Talitha than she is of Garrett.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Yeah, it's just to watch him, and listen to him to tell the story from like he's watching everything that Chris is doing, but we know that it's him, is so vile and evil, and he's telling a story that somebody else did this and this and this when he's describing his own actions in reality.
Mhm.
And it's pretty awful. And and then I just have to pick on the drug side of it. And this really has nothing to do with anything really, but to me it kind of matters. He talked a little bit about, I don't really, he's like harping on Nicole for being a heroin addict, and Jasmine for doing drugs, and and Ashley's kind of fucked up too because she's into that stuff too. And sorry about language, I forget, I'm not in my own place. But he makes it sound like everybody's doing drugs, but he only does it occasionally. I can tell you from watching this interview, from personal experience, not of my own addictions, but from personal experience, I can tell you that man is high giving that interview. And so for him to make it sound like, everybody else is doing drugs around me, but I don't really do it that much. I don't really mess with that. It's just,
And what's interesting is that, I mean, when we get to that day, he leaves that early out. Well, I would say Thursday morning when he leaves Jasmine's trailer, and he's gone until almost midnight. He left supposedly to go get drugs.
Right.
So, I mean, he is something else. And to think that he had just done, I mean, it was so easy for him to go from Ray to 16 days later doing it again.
Right.
I mean, if he hadn't been stopped, I think that he would have had more
Right.
bodies in the wake.
More blood on his hands. I think it was
Right.
Grizzly that said a few minutes ago in chat, told me that Garrett is a serial killer in his opinion. And I mean, if those are the only two deaths that you're aware of, he certainly sounds like he's one in the making. Now, if there are other bodies that are not yet known about that he's responsible for, then absolutely.
There is another one that I'm looking into.
Okay, gotcha.
Cheryl, I see your comment in there. Yes, I'm aware of these photos. Were they the pictures that you're talking about? Was it from the morning or from that night particular? Because I have a reason to believe that there might even be pictures from that night. And the nosy neighbor was someone who was actually watching Jasmine's trailer and reporting back to the police.
Like a CI or just a
Yes.
neighbor?
Yes.
A CI?
Yes. Yes. And Toby's in the chat. Toby Garth is Ashley's father. Toby, do you know the name? Do you know the last name of that body that you're talking about? Because that's really interesting. Because I cannot find Terry Smothers anywhere. Terry Smothers was the guy who lived on the Palladino property, and Toby asked, "Is Terry the guy whose body was found in Lafayette?" And Cherie, remember that I read you something the other night, that letter that I have, and there's something because we're going to get to that, but I don't want to get too far ahead. But there's something that is now I'm really interested. So Toby, if you know the last name, let me know. And my records request for those photos were denied.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh. And I hate that rule that they use. It's an ongoing investigation. Well, it's been to trial. So what more investigating are you doing?
Well, I think what they mean is that they were not a part of the case. They were only used as investigatory purposes, which, okay. But Mikey Hiddle, I need that interview, that recording that he's playing for Garrett. And they said they denied it under those same reasons. However, that video is in Ashley's case file in her discovery, and she has seen that video. And he was listed on the state's witness list to be a witness at the trial, but was never put on the stand. So I don't know if they can clearly deny the access to that based on it just being an investigatory component of the case. So.
Well, and as we've seen, Indiana has some really strange and intricately detailed open records or FOIA or whatever it's called there, laws. Toby said it's not the same the same game.
Just in the same game. Got it. Yeah, Travis, you're right. I mean, it is tragic.
Yeah.
And Ray's murder, that was, I mean, for them to allow that family to go on for 6 months and then reveal the actual cause of death. So that means that whoever was there, and I know that just based off, there's some other people out there who have covered this case, and they did a very good job of getting information and details, but Ray's family had communicated with him like within a day or two of his death, and He said he was spring cleaning, he was washing the walls, he had rearranged his computer room, and after the body was removed and they allowed the family in, they said the apartment was trashed. Cigarette butts, that Ray did not smoke in his apartment, but he went outside on the front porch and smoked. And there were Solo cups everywhere. And they treated it like a natural causes death. They did no investigation. We would not be sitting here wondering who was there if they had. You know, fingerprints, DNA off the cigarette butts. And, you know, and for the longest time, you know, Ashley's cell phone was discovered in that apartment. It was left there. And for the longest time, everyone thought that she was there with Garrett, which, you know, again, feeds right into, you know, her being involved in all of this. So that's just awful. And I really, really hope that Garrett does not get offered a plea in that case. I really hope he doesn't.
Well,
And Mama
if he,
said missing items out of the home and his car. Yes. Yes, Mama, when you watch this on the replay, we go over that at the beginning of this. So yes, you're right. So are you guys we can we'll pick up next time. You know, this weekend I'm traveling, so we probably won't get back together until I return.
right. Yeah, that's good. I have my show tomorrow. I need to
Yes, and
work on
everybody in
that.
the chat, go over and check out Just Rhonda's YouTube page, and she covers Daniel's case. And you're back on Thursdays, right? Every Thursday.
Yep. Back on
Yep.
Thursdays, 5 p.m. Central. Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you know, the thing that I'm really appreciating about this case is that I'm starting from the very beginning, and you know, I have videos and documents that, you know, we can read and listen to and things like that, which is, I think, I don't want to see, now that, yeah, exactly, Jack. I don't want to see any, and I didn't, so I'm guessing that Mama Libra Scales talks about this case on their channel as well. I mean, I'd love to support, and I would like to go subscribe if that's the case, and I could probably put a link in the chat for you. But I really am hesitant to watch anything else because I don't want I want to try to, do you know what I'm trying to say? I want a completely open mind and, you know, a clear opinion whenever I, you know, am doing this. I don't want anything that's been tainted by the media or, you know, but I also would like to support other channels who are covering this case as well.
I don't know if anybody is currently covering it. I'm trying to bring it back into the limelight simply based on, you know, the information that I have, whereas Ashley's concerned, but also because I feel too it's important that we start discussing it again, because Garrett is right now awaiting trial in Ray's case. So he's scheduled to go to trial at the end of February. And he is currently fighting tooth and nail for a plea deal that so far hasn't happened, which I hope it doesn't. So, and if he takes a plea in that deal, we may never know what really did happen to Ray and why.
I'm gonna drop Mama Libra Scales.
Yeah. And I let her know too that I dropped your link is in my description, and your link is also in my about on this page, and so is foul play. So for those of you who have any who are interested in the Stephen Avery case, Foul Play has covered that for a very long time, and you talk about some serious research there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
True Grit Crime, Mona said. That's her channel, Rhonda.
Yeah, I just put her link in the. It's a lady. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm getting it right. I put, and then somebody else asked me to drop the link to my channel. Is that fine?
Mm-hmm. Yes, please go right ahead.
Oh, I picked up a subscriber since this afternoon. Yay!
There you go. Yay.
Okay.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining tonight. And if you came in the middle, feel free to go back and watch the replay. And Cherie and Rhonda, I appreciate both of you so much for coming on tonight.
Oh yeah. We're happy to do it. Well, I shouldn't speak for Cherie, but we kind of have the same thinking minds. But I know that we're happy to do it. And
yeah, thank you for asking us.
Yes, we really appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome.
Yep.
And Travis and Jack and everybody in chat, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I hope that this shed a little bit of new light on this case and maybe filled in some gaps that were missing before. So I will definitely get back to work on preparing for the next one, because there's a lot of work that goes into this. My goodness.
Yes. You never know until you're trying to do it yourself. It just, some content creators just make it look so easy. Like they just get up there and they're got this and they got that and this happens and everything is so. Oh, thank you, Grizz. You're my new sub. That's awesome. Thank you. But it's not easy. It's not easy, and it's not just something you throw together at the last minute. It's extremely time consuming, and it's a lot of work. And so yes, don't try to. You did great tonight, by the way, Amy. Great job. Yeah, you did really great. So
Toby Garth says, please always respect all families. Absolutely.
Of course, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I said that at the very beginning, Toby. I don't know if you were here quite yet, but I made that very clear at the very beginning. And ultimately the justice of the victim is what we seek in our research. And that's first and foremost. But if there's a wrongful conviction component to that case, we also want to research that and get as much, information and documentation as we can to advocate for the wrongful conviction part of a case. But first and foremost, respect for the families of the victims are, our top concern. And so, I just feel like that's very important to say. So
yes, you're right.
Sorry, off my soapbox again.
No, that's okay.
And Travis says, I will be appearing at Caesar Palace on the 18th and have a book coming out. All right, Travis, it's about time. Someone's been waiting for years. And Travis, and I don't know if everybody in the chat knows who Travis is. But he does practice criminal law in the state of Texas. So he's no slouch in the comment section.
No, and he's been a wonderful source of help with, he's helped me keep all of these files and, documents in order, and I probably wear him out. So, but I appreciate all of you guys. You guys have been a huge help, and I look forward to doing more of these with you.
Yep, anytime. We're happy to help, and just let us know. And
I'll have to bookmark the time on this video. We're not leaving off much. They pretty much leave him sit in the room and come back in, and I think he tries to throw one last ditch effort in offering up the sun, moon, and stars of equivalent to nothing, thinking that it's going to, make him look good or something. But excuse me, there's not much left in this video. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to go through the order in which the videos were done.
That's good.
So we'll finish this one. I'll finish going over the rest of the timeline because those 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, are very intricate. And then we will get into Jasmine Parker's will be next because her interview was done on the 2nd. And her interview is quite telling too.
Yeah, it was.
So
you're going to be able to glean nuggets from every one of these interviews. With Garrett, I feel like you gleaned a whole tree of nuggets or wherever nuggets come from, but his entire interviews or interrogations are just, full of lies and deceit and vile vitriol. He's gross. He's just awful. He's awful.
Yeah, he is.
Horrible human.
And so out of all of the videos, Rhonda or Cherie, which one do you think impacted you the most?
Well, it's certainly Ashley's video, her second interview, was very tough to watch. But I think both Jasmine and Talitha both, not Talitha quite as much, she wasn't as emotional, but Jasmine was really, I don't know how I felt about the things that she said, but I do feel like she definitely is fearful. So,
yeah.
But I would say impact wise, the one that, that my mind goes back to and thinks about is probably Ashley's second interview. And I'm not just saying that because of, what your focus on the case is. I'm just saying that as a human, as a woman, as a mother, hers was probably so far the most that hasn't, that's really stuck with me, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
So,
you're talking about Jasmine, right?
No, I'm talking about Ashley's.
Oh, Ashley. Okay. Yeah, I had to. I actually I had her listen to it yesterday on the phone, and she broke down all over again. And
sure.
And then I had her. And she's never seen Jasmine's, and she had never seen Garrett's second one. And I think that she only, I think that she had only seen a portion of his first one. But when I played for her the back half of his second one, she just cried.
Yeah, that was.
She, and she, you don't hear her get angry ever, and that's what it's so like because I feel like I want to tell her like you're allowed to be angry, and she she just, I don't know, but yeah, I let her listen to it, and I let her listen to her second one, and the first time I watched that I had to stop it,
it was
and
rough.
put it down for a minute and come back, and I remember I went downstairs to Mike, and I was wiping tears, and I said, oh my gosh, I'm like, I have to help her. So
yeah, it was absolutely rough. And Jasmine's was too. I'm not going to lie. I mean, like I said, I'm not really sure how I feel about her account yet.
Yeah. And when we go, and the thing is, it's like, I've had to, as well as I know the case, I've had to go back and watch these videos multiple times each, especially Talitha's. And I've based on my notes and everything and people that I've talked to, I've been able to pick hers apart tremendously. And so when I watch hers, I get really angry. But you have to watch these videos multiple times.
Oh,
And
sure.
it's funny how they weave together and they fill in blanks in certain parts. And then there's
well, and you start seeing connections between things too,
right,
between stories and things like that
right.
too. When you, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're fine. No, but you're right. That's what it takes. I've watched them over and over again, and every time I watch it, it's like one more thing. Like I think it was the fourth time that I actually watched Talitha's video that I heard what she would, because she talks so low. It's kind of like methodical,
Right.
and that's when I picked up what she said and I rewinded it. I said, did she just say that that woman is Chris Palladino's stepmother? And that's what she said.
Yeah.
But that was like the fourth video. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it clicked. Like now this is really making sense. So definitely.
Yeah, I probably should work on her subtitles first because hers is really, hers is very difficult to hear. And and her head is down most of the time. She has very, very little body movement. Unlike Chris, or what's his name? Garrett, who's all over the freaking place, man. But so maybe I'll work on her subtitles, especially since you've already started with Garrett's. I've only got like 4 different projects going now in Filmora.
I know.
Which is fine. It's fine. It's all good.
Well, it's taken us almost almost 2 months just to get these videos working properly.
Yeah.
Because of the format they were sent in, and then obviously when we got Garrett's second one and Ashley's second one, they didn't work. Well, Garrett's was cut off and Ashley's didn't work at all, so I had to go back through that whole ordeal of actually getting them again working. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been interesting. I only did one. Jack did all the other ones. And Jack is much, much busier than I am as far as, constantly putting stuff together and doing FOIAs and researching and all of that stuff. Jack's much busier. And so I just said, well, I'll help. Let me help because he and I use the same program. And oh my God, it took me hours to finally, even with Travis's, tutorial. But I finally was able to, to get it that one recorded, and it was difficult. But now I think the ones that you do have access to, I think are all converted now to MP4s, and so. Thank you, Travis. We'll see you soon.
Bye, Travis. Good night. And Grizzly, you said, wait, what? I thought Grizzly had a question. She said, wait, what? I thought she was closer to Mark Palladino. Talitha is close to a lot of people in this case. Yes, she was close with Mark Palladino. She was arrested with Mark Palladino. They were caught breaking into a house together. And now she's living with Jason Palladino and is his girlfriend. And she's also sleeping with Garrett Kirts. All at the same time. So.
Well, she's not sleeping with Garrett currently, but at the time.
At the time she was, yes.
See, and I didn't get that yet. I don't think I.
Well, it's it's not in the video. It's
okay.
It's documents that I have.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But you did hear Garrett say it out of his own mouth that.
Yeah, I did, and I was like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah, yeah, the mom, and she used to date Garrett's dad.
Yes.
So
yeah, twisted, so twisted. That's unfortunately the lifestyle that that crowd, I really don't know how to say it any other way, but that crowd, that's just that's how they live, and it's a sad way to live.
Mhm.
Comparatively, for sure. Not trying to spread a bunch of private information, but I watched my own family members do that, and I just would, I didn't like, I never put myself above them, but I always thought, how do you live like that? But that's just the lifestyle that they know and that they're comfortable with, and it's, I guess, to each their own. But when somebody gets killed over it, that's not okay. That's there's a line,
Yeah.
and those lines have been crossed severely in these cases. So,
Yeah.
yep, we're here to help whenever we can. So,
Well, I
let us
appreciate
know.
it. Yeah. So, well, we will end it there for the night. And again, thanks everybody who came out and watched. Please hit subscribe and like, and that way you get notified when we do the next one. And I will be out of town this weekend, and so probably early next week when I get back, I'll put another episode together, and I'm going to bookmark this where it's at. So we'll pick up with this one where we left off tonight, finish up with this one, and move on along.
Sounds great.
All right.
Thank you,
All right. Good
everybody in
night,
chat.
everybody. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Thank you,
Good
Momo.
night.
Good night.
Good night.